It's happening. Listen, before this episode starts, we just thought we'd make a little clip to let you know that anyone who doesn't know, we now have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/another one podcast. And there's like a few different tiers on there. And we can go and get where you can sign up to us. And it helps us make this podcast. Helps us make it, helps us pay for the podcast. Helps us make it better. Helps us improve and put more content out. We've got big plans for things we want to do. Haven't we? Since
yes, we have. We've got big plans. We have got big plans.
Yes, Rob. Yes.
No, we have got big plans, and without anyone signing to the Patreon, this will die.
Yeah.
This will go away eventually, because if we can't make it work financially, we can't keep doing it, can we?
No, we can't just keep throwing fucking...
No, and we've got Aftermill to buy, and that fucking costs
We've got kids to pay for. Yeah. Listen, I'll be honest, if I can't provide, I'll leave.
Yeah.
So...
And we already know...
You don't want to make an orphan.
We already know how it's going, don't we? So we needed to be giving us something back.
Yeah, please.
Because we're bleeding here.
My kids are begging. My kids begging.
So sign up to the Patreon, patreon.com/another one podcast.
That's it. There's 3 different tiers, loads of different prices.
Pick one.
Help
sign
us.
Up. You won't even notice it going out your bank. It's a couple of quid.
Less than a Tesco meal deal. Or, well, maybe more than a Tesco meal deal.
You'd buy a starving man a meal deal, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I'm starving. That's what we are. Look at me.
Look at him. Do you think that? Do you think this?
Help.
Another one.
It's happening.
You're on Gut Watch, Boardman.
Gut Watch?
You're
What's that mean?
If my gut comes out, you have to tell me.
I had to
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've learned Wozniak isn't reliable.
Hang on, I did it before for the Patreon.
Yeah, it's the first time you've ever done it, and you've been on Gut Watch for 22 episodes.
Yeah, and it's only been one time that he's had the gut out. And
no, it's like I'm sick of seeing me.
Have you started?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, that's it, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we do things now.
Right.
Changed a little since you were last
Alex
on.
with a gorilla podcast.
I did not know there was such a
We're
level
raw now. We're raw.
Yeah.
Right, I know I can think
You
about
don't even
now
know
is
it's happening.
Keep glancing over at your tummy area.
Well, you're actually not. We're just going to interview Chris again about the law.
I'm just here to look at that.
Let's make the numbers.
Is he like a tennis?
Yeah,
like a line judge? Up. And you have to get some sort of repo. Here it is. It is. Was that deliberate?
No. Thank you. I didn't know.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I've fucked up your intro.
I'm sick of seeing it.
Why don't you get the cushion there? Just sit like a little granny. Just go on.
Yeah, the little tartan blanket.
Just only wear black and then buy a pure black cushion. Just have it sitting over there.
Put some Spanx on or something.
I sort of feel fine with it, but then also I don't.
You have your hoodie on usually.
I have pangs of like anxiety, and then I'm more
because this t-shirt's not good. This is going to be tough. This one because I already can tell the way it's sitting on you that it's going to be hard.
Could you not put a coat over you, like as if you remember when you were about 12? And,
I'll be fine.
Got a porno or something, and you're all like suddenly had a blanket on you.
I use it for motivation to one day lose weight.
Right. Well, we'll do our best.
At some point, the shame will kick in.
At some point, you'd like to think, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Welcome to another one. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to another one.
With Alex Boardman, second time round.
Yeah.
You might remember him from the time he said nothing for 2 hours with Jamie Hutchinson.
I worked all day. I'd said about 3 words. I worked all day. Jamie went, "Can you come and get me?" Which is not exactly on the way. And then, "Can you go out your way to take
and
me
now
home?"
you're back on Gut Watch.
We came and sat here, and then he just talked non-stop. I'd never heard anything like that, to be honest.
It was.
Neither did anyone else, because now he's a star. Yeah.
It was Rooney Arsenal that announced him, wasn't it?
That was the start.
That was the moment.
The start of
Comes
Jamie
on as a
Hutchinson.
sub, scores a wonder goal against David Seaman, and it's like, who's this kid?
And now United have signed him.
Yeah,
and he went and scored a hat-trick on his debut, didn't he? And now he's gone.
At some point, he's going to run out of rugs to shit on.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
He's got, because that must have been, 8 weeks ago?
Yeah, we were saying to him last night, like, listen, he's like, I know, I'm going to run out of stories. And then I'm going to get put out and put a bullet in my head like a dog. Just spade over my head like a dog. You're useless now.
Yeah, but we're all just doing that, aren't we? Anyway, every fucking another hour of chat. It's like, Jesus, I've got nothing left.
That's why me and you just talk about pain now.
Yeah.
The trauma that we've... mental breakdowns every week. So yeah, Alex Boardman and Chris Kehoe.
Yeah.
Hello.
Second time as well.
Also known as Barely Legal.
Yeah.
Comedy podcast. Please, I'll say that bit too.
Sorry.
To qualify it.
Because otherwise, barely legal.
You're not going to get nominated for the Northwest Comedy Awards.
Well, it's not even that, though, is it? But anybody watching who goes, I wonder if that's for us, that podcast.
Right.
Google's barely legal.
Right.
Won't be us two that you see.
Well,
to be honest, it'll be better than what we can produce.
That's what I said about the rebrand. Is you've got that barely
legal.
I like it.
Was he had a bit of a thing in it? What was it? What you call it when you cut? Oh, I don't know why I'm trying to sound clever. It wasn't you had the problem with it because we were joking that you were too highbrow to come back on the pod.
No, because
and then we learned that your new podcast is called Barely Legal.
Yeah.
Cheeky bastard.
Yeah. He's there going like, I don't think there'll be much crossover from this one.
No, do you know why though? Because I said to you when you went, come and do it, and I was like, well, I'd love to, but I am in the middle of like recording the episodes and starting again.
Yeah.
So you went, come on and plug your podcast, and I was like, I don't actually have a podcast because we'd stopped that one and not yet started the other one. So it was a waste of a 2 hour. Well, actually, Joe Hutchinson, a 3 hour round trip.
It wasn't a waste. It was a good episode.
Yeah,
it was good for Hutchinson.
Yeah, it's good for us as well. Yeah, we had a great time.
I don't know. See how he deals with the fame, innit? Now.
Yeah.
Are you getting him back, or is he too big for you already?
No, gone now. It's gone.
Finished.
But you like, I don't know. He was like your Rooney Everton, I suppose.
We're the Ajax of the Northwest podcast.
Ajax, we call ourselves. We put on the new ones and we bring them through, don't we?
Yeah,
we go, that guy's got a fucked up life. Get him on.
You could just, like when you see a homeless dude on the street, that's what you're like.
That's what it'll be soon.
Proper recruitment. That
We've cast the net out. Like we're asking every comic, who's the most fucked up comic?
We'll get the homeless people and go, I think what's this stand-up comedy market all doing nowadays?
Go and give him an open spot, clean him up, put him on the couch.
You'll get him back on when he gives up drinking and stuff like that. Yeah. When he has like a sort of like a new start.
Yeah. It's got.
We don't like that. We don't like that because the episode that went out today. We're recording today, and the episode goes out tomorrow. Is Alex Stringer's on it, and she's like sober, like quit alcohol at 23, and you can just see
23.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's what I said.
And you can just see was he going. So what was your low point? And he's there going, I've done worse. Like everything she said. You can see him going,
I went,
fuck it up.
I did that at the wedding. I was fine. I had my wallet and my phone sorted. Waking up on a bench with one shoe up.
Yeah.
Have you ever met like an American alcoholic? They're just it was a real low point. I was exactly like that. I was at a wedding and I basically, the bride said something and I heckled and people looked at me. I'd had 2 glasses of wine. It was out of control. And you're like, dude, what is going on?
Alex was like, I was just so sick of blacking out. Like, that's the only reason I drink, just to forget.
I think the idea of being an addict. I don't think it's an alcoholic though.
You would also tell an addict, you're not an addict. You're 23.
I was saying,
fine.
So my thing is like, you could go, I'm stopping drinking because I'm not good when I drink.
Yeah.
But you're not an alcoholic. Like an alcoholic to me is somebody that has to have 2 litres of vodka to function.
Yeah.
That is an alcoholic.
I think
2 litre and a half. What's that? Fine.
It's like a lemon.
You know these like chefs that like literally had a litre of vodka in the morning just so they stop shaking.
Yeah.
That to me is an alcoholic.
You know if you didn't...
Because you're dependent on alcohol to function.
You know, right.
You can just be a knobhead when you drink and go, I've got to stop because every time I drink,
I'm losing all my friends.
Say all of the work is put to a side. You're just doing stand up. This is one of my worries about going full time. Just do stand up. If I didn't have to drive, how early would you? How often would you drink and how early would you drink?
Oh, that is.
I'd have a whiskey with breakfast. I would. I know. I would.
Really?
I honestly think that's my dream sometimes.
You wouldn't.
I would.
Fill in the free time in the day.
What do you mean it's horrible?
I lived with an alcoholic for a week.
I don't mean a bottle of whiskey. I'd have a little, take the edge off the day. Whiskey.
Well, he had vodka every morning, and by about day 3, because he was pissed all the time. He handled it really well, but it was like really hard to live with him because the gigs kept getting cancelled because it was a long story, but there was no gigs. We were getting paid, so we weren't bothered. He was just drunk for 20 of the 24 hours a day. The rest of the time he was blacked out. And he'd have vodka in the morning, every morning. And by about day 3, I was like, well, we're doing nothing. I'll try it.
Yeah.
And it was it's just not a pleasant drink, even with a hangover, to try and get rid of a hangover, because you just go straight back in.
Straight vodka.
At 2 o'clock. Suddenly it's like 8:30, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning again. And you're like,
So it's straight vodka
and
now?
nothing's happening. Yeah, no, what? With orange juice. It's
Right.
the morning,
not,
isn't it?
not barbarians.
It's a breakfast drink.
Some alcoholic is.
No, I
You have an
wasn't.
orange juice with your vodka. You fucking
Shit
fanny.
house,
Yeah. Give it here.
I don't think you would.
I
don't
do.
think I don't think you could.
Sometimes I come downstairs, I look at it and think, I'd love a little glass now.
That's because you can't, though, isn't it? Is that not
Yeah.
part of it? Is
Possibly,
It, you know,
yeah.
You can
could,
when you can.
When you can.
Yeah, but you can when you've not got anything to do. It's
That's
like, why can't I have this?
Yeah,
thing?
but
How old's your kid?
16 months, 15.
That's why
Yeah.
you're looking at that whiskey and going, "Oh, I wish."
Oh, every night I have it. Every night, every night I have a bit of whiskey before bed, and I've just sit there, and it's my thing for myself, so he doesn't win.
Yeah.
So he doesn't win.
Yeah. Have a little whiskey for myself before bed, just so.
Don't even want this spite thing. We
Don't
did.
even want it.
Go
but
watch.
Oh, sorry. I
Fucking hell, Alex. You only here. For gut watch. I told you this was going to be hard. I saw that t-shirt and thought this is not going to be an easy episode of gut watch.
If you're talking about like a 23-year-old lady, it's like I'm like that with Rob now, where I'm literally only trying to look in his eyes. I can't let my eyes drop.
Look at that overhang. Oh.
There's too much flesh.
Who knew I'd be into overhangs, but turns out I am.
That's so hard, isn't it? And especially as I've got older, like
Your perversions have gotten worse.
no, but it's worse. So if like you're 30 and a girl's 25 and you're talking to her, and occasionally you just have a quick glance down, which is only natural. It's probably they're not as bothered.
Yeah.
And at nearly 50, you start like, all right, bomb, look at it. Straight away, they're like, oh, what are you doing? I feel violent.
We had this last night where we met some Patreons, and some of them were like, hugging us, kissing us, like, I love you and all that. And then you're just like, you're a young girl. I'm a 35-year-old man with a child at home. Sex hasn't been very forthcoming since neither sleep, so neither sex. You stay going, there's something pervy about this. Like, there's nothing in my, like, I'm not even trying. There's nothing sexual about it, but it just feels perverted some sort of way.
Do you know what? The fact you sat there with like a t-shirt that doesn't fit with jizz on your sleeve. I'm wondering,
Where was the warning about that? I'll put my jacket
I didn't want to say. He's gone. He's gone.
Some mate you are.
He's gone. I didn't try to say that.
Good was that for
He's
the
got jizz on his top.
I didn't know.
Is it? I was saying that as a joke. I hope it isn't.
I don't know what it is though. That's the problem.
And your leads come out the microphone. What?
It's all gone shit.
Your shit, you.
What? I didn't. Yeah, no, they're not going to pick it up on the thing. He pointed it out. If he didn't point it out, no one knows you got jizz on your arm.
Yeah, gut watch. I was taking it a bit. I found out a bit too much.
Jizz watch now.
Fucking hell.
Gut watching jizz
Just
watch.
need someone to fucking
There you
dress me
go.
before I leave the house and just
There
like.
you go. That's
I've got
fine.
a feeling this is going to ride up. But
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, cheers,
There's
Simon.
a lot going on.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
it's very tight.
So how
So barely legal, how's it going?
It's going all right, isn't it?
Yeah. what a brilliant sales pitch. Well, you know,
We got,
someone to get out of bed for.
I don't
Yeah.
know, because I think we
Tell you the Simon Wozniak of AirPod is fucking bored.
yeah.
Oh, well, it's happening anyway.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
Well, the trouble is, he's kind of such a minor. He's not appealing to. I was going to say everyone. It's not even appealing to anyone.
You.
Really. No, I really like it, but we're in the point now where we've been doing it for a bit, and it's now like we're just more friends than actually podcast hosts. So I'll come round and it's like he'll get sandwiches in, he'll make a big pot of coffee, we'll sit there for 2 hours.
Have a chat.
Yeah. Then we go, oh Christ, we've been here like 3 hours.
How's the house move
and
going,
we've not
Alex?
done anything.
I think that's you, Alex. I don't. You're saying, oh, it's with friends.
Do you know what I think it is?
Because when we tried to write a script together, and that's what we ended up doing. He come round to ours. I got pork pies, and he was like, "Oh, lovely." And he's got a cup of tea. And he'd be going around my kitchen, just looking at things. We could get to work, but you're just having a little pond around my kitchen.
Well, the first thing we did together was write a script, and He's clearly just going on a tour of the Northwest for checking out the best meal deals from supermarkets and stuff.
Oh yeah, you still feed me. You used to feed me.
That's great.
Cup of tea. I was like, you want any coffee? I had to buy coffee just because you don't want to know how drinks. You had to buy for Boardman.
I think it's the setup. I think having the studio helps because I tried to do one with Tom Taylor, a podcast. And it just, during the lockdown, and it was just turned into a bitch. Just a chat and a bitch. I was like, none of this is... we're just literally having a chat and recording it.
Ruin our own careers.
And then we just thought, this isn't going to go anywhere. But it's just a chat during lockdown because we're both bored.
So you think you need to go to a place so it feels like you're going to...
Because then there's money, because there's money involved when you're renting somewhere. So if you're just going to each other's house, it's like... we can keep doing this because it's just a bit of fun and it's a chat with the mate. Whereas when you start producing something or try and invest money monthly, it's like we need to get something.
Need to start getting this back. Yeah,
so we 100% would not ever do that. We just wouldn't do it.
No.
Firstly, neither of us. You're lazy. Well, let's say lazier than me. You have got a
three
full-time
jobs.
job.
I've got 3 jobs.
Christian lazy bastard. Where's my sandwiches?
You're calling him lazy. Everything he does, everything I see him do online, I think couldn't be arsed doing that. Fucking paints, couldn't be arsed sitting there painting.
Yeah,
he's got a fucking plot, couldn't be arsed going and plotting, and then he going to cut. Fucking hell.
So he's a university lecturer, mainly a barrister one.
He hasn't got a telly. That's like the start of being lazy.
Comedian, barrister, university lecturer, fucking gardener, fucking painter.
Oh yeah, he's got an
podcast.
allotment.
Friend of Boardman.
That's hard work.
What are you?
Well, I used
Napping
to be,
on the couch trying to avoid
comedian.
the fucking... What's that bell called where you can watch them? Ringo.
What?
You got a Ringo doorbell, haven't you?
Yeah,
When your wife
Ringo
gets you the shit because you haven't been in the shop.
Oh yeah, well, I try and let it run down.
Oh, they're the grass, them, aren't they?
They're
Yeah.
absolutely the worst thing. Yeah,
What you can... How are they a grass?
Because they're constantly on.
CCTV.
So you can't lie to your life anymore.
CCTV.
All right, so you can't say, I went out before.
Yeah, so like... So every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday...
Couch watch.
I'm meant to work during the day.
Right.
while my lad's in nursery. And every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I go home and go to bed.
Right.
But if we had a Ring doorbell, she'd know when I'd entered the house.
I mean, let's hope she doesn't ever watch this.
When I'd left the house. Yeah. No, she only watches the clips. She only watches the clips, so it's sound.
Yeah.
So anything two on top, I just don't make her a clip. But yeah,
that was the beauty of doing scripts, because when my wife would go, "What are you doing?" I'd go, I've got to Rob's,
script,
I've got to go to Liverpool and write. And she'd be like, "Oh, well, that used to be a well-paid job for you, so I'm presuming you make money." No.
that might bring some money in.
And each time it's like, I'm getting slightly nearer. You're only 45 minutes away from the house, where it used to be an hour.
Right.
But it's just so that you don't get
Good to see some
questioned.
open spot who lives 5 minutes away.
Talking about a legal podcast, I'm making an alibi for myself. That's what you need to do.
It's all marriages, yeah. What have you done today? I was telling him before, she's on to me now that I just go home and sleep. So now I think she's figured out the time that I sleep. She starts texting me. Texting me during them times. And then depending on how long I take to text back, she'll be like, "Are you asleep?" Like, no. She's had a chatty cafe in my cab, that's all it was.
But you're driving as well, you know what I mean?
It's a spider sense. It's not.
Yeah.
She'll literally just be at work or doing whatever she's doing, and she'll go, something will tingle in the brain, and she'll he's asleep.
He's having
Let's wake him up.
that fat swat having some time to
sleep
himself.
apnea. Get up. Stop playing with yourself.
What do you do then? What, are you just a comedian?
Job. Oh no,
Yeah, not allowed to talk about it.
Podcaster. Just to work in an office and then full time, then podcast and then
Just 120 hours a week if you ask him.
Oh yeah.
And what do you do in it? What do people do in offices?
Just shite. Admin. Shite.
I do sometimes think, how does he get by day in an office? Because he has a mental breakdown every time he do a pod.
I can put up the front in it. It's the same way I was thinking, you're texting someone. You can be texting one person and then immediately text the other one. And what you've sent is a professional text to one person. And within a second, you've said something awful on the other text. Like, the mind can just switch. So you go like, yeah, sure, yeah, I can do that date. Yeah, thanks, great. Yeah. You absolute fucking piece of shit. like you
fuck off, you rat.
Yeah, the gears you can just switch into.
And you never mistake them, do you? You know what I mean? Like, so you're fine. Like, you never send the wrong message.
I do sometimes.
I've done that once where I've gone, oh fuck.
Yeah,
It wasn't that drastic. It was just made no sense to the person who got the test. What was he sending me that for? Like, she's got shit on her shoes. Why did he send me this? Sorry.
Have you started your new job then? Because Chris has got a new job in Liverpool, haven't you?
Yeah.
Is it Liverpool, yeah?
Yeah.
Which one?
John Moss.
Ah, well in.
Yeah.
Like middle of the road.
I started last week.
Not the shittest one, not
So
the best
you've
one.
done it. You've done it once.
Yeah.
Actually, you would have been one of my lecturers many years ago.
Did you go to John Moss? Yeah.
Where did you... My very fractious university career was, I went to Leeds, done 2 first years in Leeds, then another first year in John Moore.
So I started at Leeds as well.
I've got 2
as well. Started at Leeds as well.
Started at Leeds, didn't take
Ended up at Hope in Liverpool.
Sounds like someone's football career. You know, when they sort of like hit the AO and then it's
Freddie Adu. Where's he now?
That's literally what I went to Leeds.
He's at Bolton University.
Studying catering.
Went to Leeds with English literature twice, and then and then lied to myself. The problem was Leeds and the course, and what I should be doing with law at home. So come home, and at that
Law's
point,
such a fucking.
At that point, I'd developed into a mature student. Right. So they were like, I had to have an interview. I just remember being in the interview and realising I am talking so much shite. Like, they're going to me, why do you want to do law after you've done English? And I was like, I want to have a purpose in my life. I want to work. I want to get up, and I don't want to be like one of my mates who just gets up and goes to work. I want to go have a purpose. I want to do. I'm sitting there thinking, you are talking so much shit. But you just don't want to admit that you failed uni.
Law is this thing that people do because it's like a respected profession to get into. No one actually. Sometimes people really want to do it, and they go but like it's like, I'll just do law because that's the one that everyone will go, oh. Congratulate.
It kind of used to be
like teaching. I just do teaching solid in it.
That's the bit why I did it, because it was like the best one you could do.
Yeah.
That I didn't really ever. I thought for a minute, I'll probably be like a barrister like
you're not going to do geology because
you could only be a geologist. And then I thought, if you get a law degree, you can go and do anything.
Yeah.
And he just bought.
Well, that's why I did English, because I thought I do English, I can do anything after English.
It bought you a bit of time because
it
was free time, and you didn't. It was just. Half the course was people who really wanted to do it, who were dead driven. Yeah. And it's exactly like the comedy circuit. Half were people who are like, I want to make it. And the other half were people who are like, I don't really fancy getting a job yet. Yeah. I just want to buy a bit of time.
I'm a law student. Oh, fancy. We're all students of law in a way.
I've been a law student 5 times. Every time I go to magistrate.
Student of law at the University of Life.
Which one was you? Did you just fall into, or did you purposely know what you were going to? Because you told us in the last pod you first worked for a council.
Yeah,
and then prison law, and then
yeah.
So that sounds to me like someone who's just sort of drifted. But then you are a barrister, which you feel like you need driven.
Sort of drifted, to be fair, but sort of drifted. Fortunately, you know what I mean?
Like, you drifted upwards.
I've drifted upwards. At each sort of fork in the river, it's gone to the sort of sunny one rather than the one with all the dead trees and whatever. You know what I mean? So but I did law for the reason, I think a bit like Alex, like you were saying then. Is like, because I went to a comprehensive school and people go to you, oh, look at you can spell, so you could be a doctor or a lawyer. You know, they were literally the 2 options that you had. Yeah. Unlike all the rest of these scum who are all going to end up in prison. You know, that was sort of...
You could be a physio if you were sporty. That was the other one.
Yeah. So it was basically, your 3 options were to do law, medicine, or sports
physio.
Science, whatever. So I didn't want to do...
bollocks.
I didn't want to do science. I wasn't sciencey, really. Hence using the word sciencey rather than scientific. So I ended up doing law just sort of by default, really. Yeah. And then I've sort of drifted into carrying on with it. And I'm now 42. I haven't got a... And I'm, I haven't got a clue what else to do with my life, So.
Because you're now at the point where you're like, I might lecture for a bit. How do we get out of it? How do we get out of law? How do this thing I've drifted into?
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, it's an element of like, I'm 42.
Best athlete, but what do I want to do in my life?
I best have a think about what I want to do, and it's like, I'll try that for a bit now. Maybe I'll drift into being a professor somewhere. And then,
that's quite odd to drift into really like good jobs. Yeah, like because you must have had to work hard.
It's the common lie with all comics, though. Amount of fucking shit I heard. Times I hear Bishop go, oh yeah, just sort of got on stage and just like next thing I was famous. Like, you're doing it for 15 years, you're like, you're on 130 grand a year that you have to give up. So you must have been in decent money to know I can make some of that wage back. You lying bastard.
I think he's got a master's, Bishop.
Yeah,
he's really clever. He used to sell drugs.
But
not like your mate. Like properly for a pharmaceutical company. He's really, really bright, and he's like a brilliant.
Apparently, he was on 130 grand a year.
Yeah,
like, and that's what he gave up to go into college. But like, there's no way you're not at least earning 70 off comedy to think you can go and do. You can give
unless
it up,
he had enough like in the bank to go. You know what? I can have a few years of not earning much money.
He went part time for a bit, and then So Bishop, I've worked with Bishop.
Like, I'm not slagging him off. I'm sure he's a great fella. I've met him once, and he was lovely.
He's really good at football.
It's this whole sort of.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he's a really good footballer.
His brother was decent as well, wasn't he?
His brother's nice. He's really, really clever, John Bishop, right? Yeah. So we went to a funeral of like a mutual comedy friend, and he'd just been doing it about a year or something. And he said, I'm thinking of like going full time. And I think I'd been full time about 6 years. And I was like, oh yeah, it's it's not a bad living. You know, you gig on a Friday and a Saturday if you want, you get 5 days a week off. And he went, what's your 5-year plan? To me. And I was like, dude, I don't even know where I am this weekend. I have no idea. And he went, oh, well, I've got, in 1 year I want to be doing this, and 2 years I want to be doing that. 5 years he worked to be on telly and touring. Yeah. He did it in about 18 months, 2 years. Yeah. The only other one was Jimmy Carr, who I think was as quick.
Yeah, because he's
utterly driven.
He's another one. I left a really decent paying job.
And look at him now.
Driving to gigs in a Range.
And look at him now. Manufacturing his own cancellations. Get his show figures up. Yeah. You snide cunt.
He was a nice fella as well.
Yeah, I've met him twice. He was lovely. But
he's a nice fella. But I don't know.
We were saying the Patreon. Well, he said, what do you think of the whole cancellation? I said, fuck him. He's a millionaire now. Fuck him. Let him get cancelled. He needs to go. There needs some fucking new.
My thing is, I didn't even look into it. My friend had to message me the joke because I wasn't bothered.
No,
it's like he's cancelled for a joke. I'm not.
He's not either. Is he?
No, he's not.
No. My
if anything, it's they've done it. People have suggesting that they've done it on purpose.
It's been on telly for like a month, hasn't it? Before
been on Christmas Day, come out.
Yeah,
but people are saying they've manufactured it. To get the hype, because now every fucker's watched it on Netflix.
Yeah, and
it's
also
the most viewed one now.
Yeah, it's number one on Netflix. Also, it's 3 days now since this first broke, so it's like on the wane as a story. But he'll do 8 out of 10 cats will be on Friday, so there's about another 2-3 days.
Yeah,
so
everybody on now, Alex, you might get in on it if he's gone.
Oh yeah, imagine.
So to do with your Monday to Wednesday.
I'd just sit there like that. Rachel, you are so fit. Yeah. Susie, you are also
Alex,
really
Alex,
fit.
you need to host the show.
I used to write when it was.
You're talking to a mic, Alex. You know.
You are.
You're talking into a mic.
Yeah.
Oh, did you used to write
for those not the countdown one, the normal one.
Right.
But
the normal one, really?
Yeah, when Manford was team captain, I was his writer.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So that was again when my career was on the up.
That was when you could say to your wife, I'm staying in writing, love you. Yeah.
That was like before I was driving a 2-hour round trip for 2 pies. That's the thing with Rob as well.
It was 3 pies.
2.
Satisfied.
3, you did get 3.
I got the plain one, the chorizo one, the black pudding one.
Oof.
Each, 3 each. That's what.
3 each.
Do you know what? That's what I mean.
How are they big? Satellites.
Yeah.
So he goes, I've got 3 pies, and I was like, that'll be nice, a pie and a half. And he comes out with 6 pies, and I was like,
that was quite naive of you, to be honest, Alex. A pie and a half.
That's why you're on gut watch now.
And then he goes, should I come to you next week? I was like, oh no way.
I'm not a fan of it. There's too much jelly. There's too much jelly in the satellites.
No, you got to cook them so the jelly melts, and then.
Yeah.
Oh, you put them in the oven.
He didn't even cook them. I'd go round. He'd have the oven on till it got to the right temperature, and then he'd go, I'll put them in 20 minutes. So it was planned. It was like a military operation. Or he's like, arrive at 11, we'll eat at 12:30.
And when are we doing the script? The what?
It was never ending.
We're writing instructions on how to cook a pork pie. That'll be funny, won't it?
It was literally the last half hour and we go, Christ, I'm going in.
Any ideas?
What should we put?
Maybe
the taxi crash.
Yeah. Are we ending this scene now? The taxi crash. There we go.
Again.
Happens a lot. It happens a lot.
The shittest series in the world.
The opening scene, right, it was about a taxi driver that I had this idea about a taxi driver.
Basically, Alex had seen me turn up to football in a pair of sliders and footy socks on, and he thought, it's funny that.
It was funny. And also you'd say about little scams that taxi drivers had.
Right.
Which, and he'd tell me one. Are you allowed to say him?
I've said them all. I think I said them all last time. Kehoe.
Right, you're going to say you got
just
embarrassed
listed every
deny it. So, like, for instance, taking somebody home who's been to a brothel.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, paid double bubble. So you took someone to a brothel. The brothels used to... So there used to be a brothel...
There used to be a deal,
There used to be a brothel in Liverpool City Centre and there'd be a brothel in Sefton. And all the Sefton drivers would take them to Liverpool City Centre for the bigger fare and the money off the brothel in the city centre.
Yeah.
And all the city centre drivers would take them to the one in Sefton for the same reason. And then you just sit outside and wait to take them back anyway.
Right, yeah. I thought
But you'd also leave your clock
taxi
on.
ones have a...
So what you used to do, so you used to get 15, 20 quid from the brothel, you get your fare, and then you'd sit outside and wait, and you just put your clock on again.
Just taking everyone the brothel. I don't want to come here, Bob.
You're here now. You're here now.
Yeah. And then, you're here now. You might as well go get it done. Go on and you go.
And then you'd sit outside, let your clock to get to about a tenner. So when they go back out and go, oh yeah, I'll just jump back in.
A tenner?
And then it'd be on a tenner before you'd even got anywhere. And they wouldn't question it. Because you were like, you just walked out of a brothel,
What are they going to
do? Because of the shame.
Yeah, you're in the middle of an industrial estate in Bootle. Right? You go and question it, mate.
Yeah, we're phone your wife.
Yeah,
to you know what I mean? What are you
Yeah.
doing here? Oh,
Yeah.
it was a business meeting.
And you were basically like an Uber. You know, like how Uber Eats now. It's only recent, last 3-4 years. But like, say you got a load of students and there was like a party. You'd take one to a party with a load of vodka in the back and a load of fags, and then you just sort of pull up and be like, just see if anybody wants any booze out there. And they come out, you got a boot full of stuff, so they don't have to leave the party. Charge them double.
So it was just about you going around.
Just basically all the
those
scams.
little scams. So I was like, oh, that's good. Let's put a proper story on that. We'll have a scam a week and just see what happens. And
It's
then
not a bad idea.
it was a great idea, but we never really wrote it, did we? Because we just fucked about it.
It's too busy just going, he's a boss, Paul.
It was so good.
Actually,
I'm like-
more
I'm
money
just-
in the scamming than
Paper, scissors, stone for who's going to go to the shop next to get another pork pie.
And then Rob, about 10 minutes before I got, shit, my wife's back in 10 minutes, you've got to go.
You're going to fair that you're little fair.
He'd have like a mad clean-up. Hide all the evidence.
Got a bit of pork pie there. Oh, off you go. Well done anyway for having a go.
You gotta have a go.
having a go.
You just gotta just show. I actually reread this script a couple of times. It was all right.
It was all right.
How many did you write? Just the one?
We
We had the
planned
ideas
a
for every
full-
episode, but we just wrote one full pilot. Then we go. My cousin's quite high in the TV. She got us in touch with a production company. Who basically went, yeah, I like it.
No, they went, I like it. Do you want to rewrite it? And we went, do you want to give us a bit of cash? And then he went, no. And they went, do you want to buy any vodka? He's got some.
We'll rewrite it for a few pork pies.
Oh, I'd love Satterway to sponsor this pod.
Oh, my God.
So hang on, you cook them, so then the...
Well, you can buy them hot from Satterway's, or you get them cold. You just put them in the oven for 20 minutes, or 10, 15 minutes. Let all the jelly cook and sort of the pie goes warm.
So the jelly will go then? Because that's the bit...
It just melts, doesn't it?
Just melts, yeah. It's just fat, isn't it?
Ugh, it makes me sick when they...
Yeah, well, you just cook and the jelly's gone.
I thought they only had jelly in pork pies.
These were pork
These
pies.
These were pork pies, that's...
That makes
Pork
sense.
and black pudding, pork and chorizo.
Pork and chorizo, pork and bacon.
Right, okay.
There was,
I don't like...
Is this literally a podcast? Where we spend 5 minutes just going, do you remember that pie we
Should we call it a day?
what time did they close?
We'll get some Melton Mowbrays.
I tell you what, if you got sponsored by Slatterthwaite's though,
It's a mouthful that shop,
I
innit?
definitely would be back on this podcast.
There'll be none of this. Oh, I don't know what
every
I'm talking about. They'll be like, I'll find something.
Just come in on.
Yeah. Who, John Bishop, he was a cunt. Yeah,
He was good. He was, as he got more and more famous, like he could afford better writers. So I got less and less work.
What, Bishop?
Yeah, because what happens is whoever the TV company is will go, it's a bigger production, they've got more money for writers. And John will go, oh, he does write. I've written with Alex, he's good. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we've got like these 4 who all went to Oxford and Cambridge, not for something to do. They went because it was their calling.
Yeah.
And you're like, you just get can't you find you just get pushed out a bit.
And when you say better writers, what like are they?
Well, they don't come in hungover.
Right.
They're not, because do you know what? It's really funny.
But having a whiskey with breakfast.
There were loads of times when I've been that, like if we were to talk about, so if I was to say this to you, at your school, secondary school, comprehensive school probably, high school maybe, was it called an high school, your one?
At high school, yeah.
Right, so I can almost guarantee that every school we went to, in that 6 years you were there, maybe every year, at least once or twice, someone during one of the holidays, like Easter or summer holidays, someone burnt down either maths, science, bit of the school got burnt down. Now you say stuff to that and people go, oh yeah, I remember that happened. Oh, do you remember when this happened? Oh yeah, do you remember when like a kid died because they all got knocked over? It's, everything like that happens. Well, you say this to them and it's like they can't believe.
Oh, we had this. Sometimes he can't comprehend.
What,
they
you mean?
can't comprehend.
These writers?
Well, because people who went to a different posh school or grew up in a village. Or
didn't tend to happen.
Like I grew up in Oldham, and there was like my last year at school. There was like a massive race riot, and you couldn't go out for like 2 weeks. You couldn't go to parts of town. Yeah. One of those bits of town was where my grandma lives, and still actually lives.
Right.
And you're right, and you'd say that, and they just look at you and go, "Well, was it Sarajevo or something?" You're like, no, it's just a different.
Well, what happens, mate? He was on the other week, and he was saying I was crying at his school because. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was just fucking chaos.
He just got battered.
It was like Guantanamo Bay.
Alan Finnegan, you know the
the priest.
Yeah, he
But the thing with Alan, like, so we had Alan and Sam on, and Sam's like a little shit, and Sam's got a story of being like a little.
Sam was a scumbag,
and then Alan's just got this really hangdog look about him, where it's like he didn't deserve what happened to him in school.
I never had no peace.
Sam, it was like, yeah, you're a little twat, you know, you're breaking into places, robbing shit. And Alan was just like, me teacher just ragged me off my chair. And then he looked like he was like, oh, poor man.
You understood why he went to to church, and
so then
needs some sort of purpose.
Had the same sort of.
Well, what you learn after a bit is to shut up, because it's not just that. It's anything you say. You've got everything that they're talking about. You've got nothing you can add about. Oh, Philip's coming round for supper this evening.
It's not a thing with.
Fuck's that cornflakes?
So, I remember that at uni. Like when I first realised that I wasn't the same as pretty much everyone else at uni. Because even the people that I became friends with who were with the like normal ones, they were all from like a much more middle class background than I was. Right. Looking back, you didn't really think about it at the time. It was like the use of the word supper to
supper.
Someone would go like, "What's for supper, Kehoe?" And I was like, "What? Like
cornflakes? Have some toast?
Like probably a biscuit or something." You know, like. But he actually meant what was for tea. You know, like I was like, "What?" I couldn't. Yeah, it was.
I went to uni with a girl who lived in my dorm. Like, so the way my like uni flat sort of dorm was, there was 4 normal bedrooms and a double bedroom. Double bedroom was obviously an extra £50 a month. And the girl who's in a double bedroom, I'd gone to Leeds the same time. I think it was like the year after. I don't know, Prince Harry went or someone like that went. So all that
Leeds uni.
Yeah, so all that London lot, all that lived in Chelsea, all came up.
Did Prince Harry go to Leeds uni?
Yeah. He done like a little stint there.
No.
Or his partner did or something.
I don't think that's true.
No,
I do not believe that for 1 second.
What, he was going to Prism nightclub, was he?
No, obviously not. But anyway,
fucking hell, mate.
So all that London elite. Well, it's
just another load of shite you came up with on this.
Finish this fucking story.
I went to uni with Prince Harry. Sure you did, Rob.
Well, I went to Leeds Met. He went to Leeds.
You went with William, did you?
He didn't go and watch Aston Villa play Leeds United.
No. One of the fucking royals went to Leeds.
It wasn't the second in line to the throne, I doubt.
It might not have. One of the royals went to Leeds anyway.
You can't just say Prince Harry did it and not expect anyone to pull you on that. You acted like we're being knobheads. You're going, oh yeah, the Queen used to drink in the salt box. Oh, did she? Oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Fucking hell, mate.
Listen. Artistic
a royal went to the fucking...
One of the royals went to Leeds. So all that lot come to Leeds same time I was going to Leeds. And The one who had.
Was he doing woodwork? Oh, what was he doing? So, firstly, right, why I know this is utter bullshit. He flew an helicopter in the war.
For about 5 minutes in the war.
The Afghan. Yeah, but he still flew an helicopter.
It could be his ex-girlfriend.
They didn't
Someone connected to the royals went to Leeds.
He doesn't go to. He's the Queen's grandson.
It was fashionable.
Does not go to Leeds to do sociology with his 2 Bs. And then he just you're talking out of your absolute arse.
I'm not.
And then he leaves there and then goes straight to Sandringham, and then the next thing you know, he's flying an helicopter.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely not. Right. Working at Asda part-time at the weekends.
You would know about Prince Harry going to Leeds uni. We would know that.
Right.
Never did.
All right, what uni did William go to? Where did he meet Kate?
Fucking, he went to Liverpool Hope. William went to Hope and then fucking...
St Andrews Leeds, similar thing.
He might have gone to Sandhurst straight away, actually, because that's a military academy, innit? Is it Sandhurst?
No, you've got to go and get a degree first, haven't you? Sandhurst.
Sandhurst or Sandringham's.
Haven't you got to go and get a degree to go to one of them?
Do you think if you're the Queen's grandson?
No. He won't believe he's gone to Sandhurst, but he believes he's gone to Leeds. Yeah.
They have medals despite having done nothing. So
right. Somebody that's convinced lizards run the country,
I reckon being a prince
going to Leeds.
Being a prince might open some doors for you, potentially. Yeah.
Anyway, one of the royals went to Leeds, so it was dead popular for all them lot to come to Leeds. So the girl I was sharing a room with, her name was Livy Heritage, and she was...
Someone's got to Google this. One boy went to Leeds University.
Just put Prince Harry.
And she was from...
Wikipedia him.
She was from...
Imagine if he went...
Maybe this is why he had to go and live in like America or Canada or wherever he's gone, because he's like his degree was not...
Anyway, so she's in that room and she's proper. She's the poshest person I've ever met in my life, and I mean, just like she's an alien to me. And like they're just all there because it was the fashionable thing to do for that
You're so full of shit.
Generation.
I mean, it got the top 10 notable alumni of University of Leeds, and Harry didn't make it, mate. But Dan Smith did.
Dan Smith. Rob Thomas is 11.
Chris Pine, he made it. Jamie Lang made it.
I don't know any.
Jamie Lang's posh as fuck. He's from Maiden, Chelsea.
For fuck's sake.
That proves me point. He was one of them cunts.
What do you mean? It proves your point, a reality star.
Yeah, but
fucking hell, mate. The Geordie Shore lot.
He was the heir to McVitie's, mate. Anyway.
So this girl with a double bedroom.
This girl with a double bedroom. And like just these connections.
Did you live with him?
What?
Did you live with him, Prince Harry, for a bit in Leeds?
So it was hilarious watching her trying to look after herself, even though she had a Coots card. I didn't even know they'd done student accounts.
A what card?
A Coots.
What's that?
It's the rich bank. You got to have 10 million.
Wow.
You got to have 10 million in your account just to have a card. Sort of
right.
thing.
Wow. That's like a Black Nando's card, isn't it? That I've heard about.
So Prince William went to St Andrews University after a gap year in Chile, and his brother Prince Harry decided to go to Leeds University.
What?
That's a lie. His brother decided to go to Sandhurst, so Boardman was right. Look at him, he fucking pushed the back door of the cunt.
I was getting to stand up. I was going to walk off. That was me done. Do
you know what? I
should have gone with that. I was too early.
That was well done.
Let me walk.
That was well done. Who'd have thought having jizz on your shirt wasn't the most embarrassing thing for you in this episode?
I'd have had jizz on my shirt if that wasn't a lie.
That's Prince Harry's jizz, that mate. That's why he won't wash it off.
Royal jizz, that mate. So anyway, so she's in the you know when you ruin a joke. You know when you're on stage and some sort of like someone heckles for the joke. I've got to finish this joke.
The punchline isn't going to be worth it.
This punchline's not worth it. So the end of the story isn't worth it. But anyway, so she's in there. And it's just watching her be alien to me. She makes a pot noodle, like because she thought, oh, I'm living it rough. It'd been in a cupboard for 6 months because like she just ate out every single week, every day, every week. She ate out. She's like, wow. A mum had gone to her. No, you've got to like, come on, you're a student. So she decides she's going to make her own food. She makes a pot noodle. So she gets it and just empties it into a bowl and just fills the bowl with water.
That's hard to empty a pot noodle into a bowl.
Exactly.
Solid.
It's just literally emptied it into a bowl, then poured water over it, and then looked at me to go, "Why are you laughing?" And I was like she looked at me like, "Why are you laughing?"
I was like,
I've just seen Prince Harry in the fucking...
I was like, "Do you know why it's called a pot noodle?" Like, she's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "It's called a pot noodle because you have it in the pot." Like, just pour it to that line. Right. She's looking at me going, "What are you on about? Why would I eat out of a little plastic tub?" Yeah. And I'm like, no, you just pour it to the line.
I drink pot noodles.
And then you just eat it like that. And she's like, literally, she can tell she's going to me going, surely not.
I bet she's still embarrassed by that.
Surely
Even
not.
now she thinks back.
She's absolutely. She's in the Maldives currently.
Oh no, she doesn't work. It's hilarious. I've still got her and a mate. Both of them so fit.
That is the annoying thing
on
about
on Instagram.
Girls.
So fit.
They are all ridiculously fit.
Neither of them work. They just
Chester.
Holiday.
Chester, yeah.
Alexander's is every time.
Just the way they speak or something that Like, they just dismiss you straight away.
Yeah,
They're like,
I turned you on.
And I'm like, the last time he was on,
I'll be honest.
discussing how women's minds work.
I'll be honest.
Toxic white northern males going, this is how women fucking think.
While we're on confession time, at one point she was shagging in a room and it was dead loud, and I just like. I just basically opened the door to go, can you keep it down? And we all know why. I was hoping for a little peek. It was like,
You fucking pervert!
just like,
does that?
knocked on the door, but knocked so hard that the door swung open.
You
like,
fucking
bang the handle. Knocked so hard the handle turned.
I knocked so hard, my other hand opened the handle
And the door slowly opened.
and I fell in.
I've got that pot noodle you were after.
I'll just leave it there for you. Tap him on the arse.
What else was funny about uni? Well, I had about 5 or 6 friends really in my year, and everybody else was a bit posher. And like, you do find each other really quick with the normal people, because you're all a bit like, oh my god.
Uni, I never went, so I don't really.
But then you come back from uni, you don't really. It's almost like, well, maybe it was doing what, but you feel like you don't fit in, really. And I didn't have any interest in the subject either, so that didn't help.
Right.
And then you come back and you've like changed to all your original friends a bit as well, because they've all been working for 3 years. And they've all, so at uni, everybody you're with got money. Because like one girl got a BMW, bought as a present, like a birthday present.
Well, this girl she was like, I might just bring my car up, which is like a brand new Mini Cooper.
Yeah, they all had brand new, everything brand
like,
new.
how are you going to afford the car parking space? She's like, well, how much is it a year? And like, there's literally
Clueless,
12 car parking spaces in the whole of the accommodation. Accommodation with like 3,000 people, 12 car parking spaces, so they literally sold for about $6,000.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sure my mum will just pay for it. Like.
And then you come back and all your old mates who you've not really seen, like, they've kind of moved on because they've like had a life where you've just been fannying about.
Yeah.
But they've also been working, so they've got money and they've all got cars and stuff. And you come out and you're like 23 and you're like, well, the people that I was with, most of them didn't really like me. Yeah. And I've come back to people that did used to like me, and none of them like me anymore.
So
and everybody's really got like
made any friends, because a lot of people
I've still got a couple of great friends
from uni.
But they were kind of like the one lad's from Bolton, and then his brother. And then there's like two. Well, then there's 2 Scousers that were like, and another lad I think was from Burnley.
Right.
That was us. Like, well, I didn't even hang about with them all the time, but I hung about. They were the only ones I spoke to. And I could see him again, and we'd be like, hey.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you'd see the others, they wouldn't even remember who I was. They wouldn't know. And also, they'd be like...
So you got like 5 friends from uni. That's a lot.
Everyone I went to uni with is like slowly over the years unfriended me on Facebook. So I've got like about 2 left.
Mine's the same. I've got like 3 people like left. Like,
it like comes up like
one girl just lives on a farm now.
Suggestions for people that you might know, and you think that cunt's unfriended me. You know?
Have you ever had it when you just think, you go like, I haven't heard from that person. They've not even entered your mind for like 2 years, and you go, I'll search them. And you go, I fucking cunt. He did it to me. He did it. Then he tried to re-add me. I didn't accept, and he deleted his request.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 people that keep like unfriending me and then adding me again, and I'm like, and it's like that. I don't even know them. You know, people that you just got 300 odd mutual friends with because they stand up.
I don't accept them. I have a policy. I have to have met you. I can't accept, because
I used to accept them, and then I just got loads of fucking wankers having a go at stuff.
Before the baby was born, I just deleted everyone who thought could be a nonce.
And now he's doing a podcast.
That's why he's unfriended you.
Literally anyone who I thought, if it come out that they were a nonce, I wouldn't go, oh my God.
Never.
Yeah, never. So, literally about 800 people, 800 comedians, gone.
Has that ever happened? Has anybody ever been found to be a nonce and you've gone, well, I do not believe that for 1 minute?
Oh, no.
Never. Never. Because half of it, I think, is the fact that if you went, such a body, he's a nonce, and you go, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
But most people, like if you went, Rob's a nonce, you go, he's not. Is he? He just don't look like
too lazy.
Too much. I was going to say too much effort.
Yeah, fucking hell.
He doesn't even like his own kid.
That's about serious crime.
So got to learn how to use the dark web and that. Fuck that. Fucking hell. That's why I know he's not a nonce. Because he started the podcast with him. I seen how bad he is with technology. He's like, Lee can't be a nonce.
Imagine if you
I
were,
can't even work out how to get the kids' keks done. Never mind how to get on the dark web.
it must be really like frustrating for older nonces as the technology moves on.
They don't care. I think they're just more brazen about it. They think, fuck it. In fact, my theory is they get to 70 and they think, fucking why not? Do you know what I mean? They go, why not? I've always wanted to do it and do nothing else now. So it's like when people go, I'll do heroin at the end of my life.
See all those like motivational posts on Facebook and think, yeah, I will seize the day.
Like a little kitten, hang on in there. And he's like, I will.
You're not going to lose your job if you get caught. All your family and friends are dead anyway. You don't like them. You're thinking, might as well nonce now. Something to do in it.
You get put on the non-swing in prison, so you'll have an easier life there. You know.
Oh, we discussed this, didn't we? And you said it wouldn't be an easier life. Who was it?
They have degrees of nonces. So if Adam Johnson wouldn't be considered as bad as Ian Watkins. So Adam Johnson could knock out Ian Watkins and go, you're a piece of shit. You.
This is what it was. Sorry, we were discussing on one of the Patreon episodes, right? What you go to prison for? So, no. This was it. What you know you're going to go to prison in 3 months. What do you do, sort of thing?
Oh yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'll have to find a way of surviving. And I say, but you're not going to. So would you not just like get a dildo, just shove up your ass, get yourself warmed up? And he was like, prep
no, it was either
training.
Get trained, get hench so you can protect yourself. I'm thinking, fuck it, too hard work. I'll just get battered and be good at it.
I'll just get myself in the mental state.
No, you told me I need to be better at wanking, and I said I'd end up sucking them off anyway. If I'm gonna wank you off, I'll fucking I get stuck in.
I said, well, if you know you're gonna go to prison, would you not like come out as a nonce? Like get yourself a little easier ride, and he was like, "No, because you get battered anyway."
Yeah, no. The screws.
That sounds like a very bad idea.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make my time in prison easier. I know. I'll pretend I'm a paedophile.
It's like when people go to prison and go, "I'm a Muslim, so you have to give me a different meal from wherever."
It's not the same at all, mate. Being a Muslim and a nonce, it's not the same. That is not the same. I'm a Muslim.
I'm not suggesting that's the same.
He's just trying to get cancelled here.
That's
what it is.
I am not suggesting it's the same. Okay,
you've just said it's like being a Muslim in prison. You get a different meal, or you get a different way to get your eyes gouged out.
No,
that's what happens to nonces. They're kill on sight.
How do you know?
Because I've watched a podcast about American people, and it's KOS, kill on sight. If you're a paedophile, you have to get fucking murdered.
In America?
Yeah.
Well, you're not in America.
Well,
you can literally ask Kehoe now.
Maybe I'll go over to America and nonce when I'm 70.
Is that how you're going to break America? Simon Wozniak breaks America, comes out as a nonce while he's there, though.
What a tour this is. Coming to America.
Myself a Netflix special out of it. Yeah.
Coming to a kindergarten near you.
This hasn't worked out quite as I'd planned, bro.
I don't think coming out as a nonce when you're not one
is a good idea.
I can't think of any circumstance where that.
It's a very high risk strategy.
Some fantasists might go though. Some fantasists out there, some weirdos might go, I'm gonna tell everyone I'm a paedophile.
There are people like that.
Right, say you're going down for life. So
okay.
Right, 40, gonna get 30 years, going down for life, gonna do full term. Would you not have an easier life if you were then to go?
No.
Just when you went to prison and went, by the way, I've nonce loads of kids.
I don't believe why you even think. I can't even comprehend why you think this is a good idea.
Can we ask the expert?
Because there is like.
Well, this is a nonce.
for high risk prisoners in terms of they're in danger while they're in prison.
Yeah.
They will separate them from the main prison population.
Yeah. They find ways to get to them.
But exactly, it's like. But it's not guaranteed that they will do that, for one thing.
Because the police go, oh, he's a paedophile. Oh, I'll just leave that open there. Sorry, they'd let him in. Oh.
Yeah, if you look at like loads of stuff in prison, it's like, nonces get it. But it's like, you'll have a worse time. But like, because even if you get put on non-swing, then you're hanging around with a load of nonces. And you're going to have to sort of pretend that you're a nonce to them. You know what I mean? Like, because in their conversation, exactly.
But then there will be people that might go, I'm going to pretend I'm a nonce, go in there and kill all the fucking nonces.
Do you think it's just full of people pretending to be nonces?
This can never have happened.
No, it wouldn't be a good idea.
No, but people, they find ways to get to you.
Oh, well, that's that plan out the window.
It's a bad idea to ever tell people you're a nonce.
It's a bad idea,
especially if you're not one.
It's a bad idea to get sent to prison for your first time if you're over like 50 as well. Because people, regardless of what you've done, will assume you're a nonce.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to commit to crime, do it now.
Yeah. But you haven't got your papers so they can check you.
No, you don't.
Well, like segregation.
Well, no, you don't have your certificate of conviction.
Like
or
a
whatever.
charge card or something. They go, let's see what you're in for.
Card.
No, there's not like ID for what you with
What
your
you
offence on
did?
it.
Oh, armed robbery. I see. That's me as well. Fancy a coffee and a game of ping
They'll
pong.
just assume you're a nonce and that you're lying about it. Is what it is. If you're like an older chap. So bad idea.
What is going on?
So lesson learned: never tell anyone you're a paedophile if you're not one.
In any circumstances, not only prison.
Yeah.
I don't think pretending to be a paedophile is ever the way forward.
I don't know, actually.
No, there's some
loads of
comedians.
comedians.
If you're in a room full of nonces that are psychos, just pretend you're a nonce and then try and slip off. Yeah, this is sound. This is sound. I'm gonna go and then I'll grass on them. Would you grass on nonces? That's a conundrum for him. Because he's notoriously not a grass.
Anti-grass.
Well, you'd have to give me a circumstance.
All right, then.
All right, there's a nonce.
Yeah.
Would you grass on him?
You can
No,
prove that
I'd take the law into my own hands, probably.
Would you?
Yeah.
But you
So
just
you're not telling anyone?
You just said before that you were
Oh,
lazy.
no, I'm not telling anyone. I'm not
So what are
telling
you
the
going to do
police.
to him? What are you going to do to him?
I'll tell some wrong'uns that like some wrong'uns who aren't sexual wrong'uns that he's a nonce. Like I just spray paint outside his house. He's a nonce.
So I'll teach you.
And then let the kids just go for it. Let the kids go at him.
So you think you could order a hit on him?
I wouldn't order it. I'd just let enough people know that he's a nonce, and then the hit would become naturally.
Okay.
It's a hypothetical again. How does he know this? How's Rob? Has he caught him in the act or?
Yeah. You've caught him in flagrante.
I've
caught him
in the act. But
then I'd leather him, and then I'd use what Kehoe said last time with so emotional.
He's massive.
So emotional.
He's 6'8",
control.
Yeah.
and he's fucking 27 stone, and he's fucking stacked. What are you doing there? Backing yourself?
Yeah.
Give me 18 months, and I'll be back here to fill you in.
That's to go get a knife one.
do you talk about this because this is the second time this has come up? Does this come up every podcast?
No. Don't,
what would you do? Non-hypothetical.
What was the other podcast we talked about? Nonce.
I can't remember talking about it before.
You said you just did talk about it in the.
No, that was what would you do? Someone asked us, so on the Patreon, we let patrons ask us any questions they want. Someone asked us, you got 3 months before you go to prison. You know you're going to go to prison. You know you're going to go down. What would you do?
And there's no way of escaping.
No, it's just
this is a weird situation to be in.
You know what?
In 3 months' time,
I think
you're going
none of
to
us-
prison.
I think we'd escape and never even crossed our mind. It's too much hard work.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even go to the gym, never mind trying to escape.
Yeah, I really wouldn't.
So
So it was you were trying to find out how would you prepare yourself for prison?
yeah.
Is that
So
the
one
idea?
of my hypotheticals was, would you maybe just come on as a nonce so you get an easier
and then
time?
get on non-swing.
Yeah, and then it was would you go and get would you go train? And like no. And then I was like, well, you might as well just fucking shove a dildo up your arse and warm up. Like, just get yourself into anal sex
Again.
Yeah.
You know what?
We're back in the circle. Now the next one, say, would you pretend to be a paedophile? It's like
Groundhog Day.
never-ending loop.
Time loop. One of us has got to work out how to break the loop, haven't we?
One of the things we had, we like, because we knew you come back on, there's about 8 different times we've stopped ourselves and gone, we'll ask that when Kehoe's on. And
we've
not a single question.
Yeah.
Loads of law questions that we had set up going, maybe we should ask that when Kehoe's on.
They were probably nonce-based questions, to be honest.
No, some of them weren't.
How do you think he would do as a barrister if he'd got, say he went,
He can
I don't
help
know,
you out with the cases.
say dangerous driving, knocks somebody over, gets sent to prison. How do you think he'd do? How do you think you'd do?
How do you think I'd do in prison?
Would you be classed as the enemy, or maybe
you-
not? Because
No, he can help.
Would you tell them?
Yeah,
Would you
that's
tell
what
them
I
you were a
wonder.
prosecuting barrister? Or would you immediately be lie and be like, "Oh yeah, I was defence
Well,
mate."
I would recall heavily on my prison law days when I used to represent prisoners and just sort of say, I can write all your letters to like the governor and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I reckon I'd do that.
So you
I
can
wouldn't tell
help
him I was a
out.
fucking prosecutor.
Harold Shipman, he got away. He did all right in prison because he would help people out.
He hung himself, didn't he?
He did, but I'm sure he helped people out as well.
He wouldn't help anybody out. He wasn't allowed to prescribe anything. He was, go and see the Dr. Death. Harold, my knee's bad. All right, take 3 of these.
He would help them out.
Where do you take?
He would help them out. I watched a documentary.
How would he help them out?
I have no idea.
To be fair,
Don't you start with it fucking calling me a gobshite.
To be fair, it's probably because he was literate. You know what I mean? There's a lot of them will be like
he could write the
illiterate or
letters for them
semi-literate.
and all this, so he'd help
Right, he wouldn't be able to read them with his handwriting.
Well, he's in jail now, and he doesn't. I mean, he's like, well, there's no point killing these.
Did you watch that Sean Bean where he was a teacher? He docked somebody.
Yeah. So that
and then
was
he
good.
like helped somebody out by writing. That's like what most of my legal knowledge is based on. Like whatever program I've watched.
Oh yeah.
So when I was wondering how we would do in prison, it's like from a Porridge episode when a judge,
the judge who sent
the judge who sent Fletcher down
gets
gets sent to prison and then ends up giving legal advice to everybody. And that's just how I imagine.
So yeah, that's how you imagine it happening. You think you're basically the fella from what's the
Porridge?
No,
from Shawshank Redemption.
You think you're him from Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh yes, write everyone's letters.
Well, that's what
befriend everyone. Let's befriend the black guy who knows everyone. Does everything.
Like get good at sort of like fighting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. And it's like, but I mean, you might have to do that first, might you? I don't know. I can't hit them all with a heavy sort of like leaflet campaign or something.
There's a level of fighting you could get. All right, if this was the prison room.
Yeah.
And you had to like get up to the top level in this room, you'd be all right. If you have to get up to like somebody who's murdered 3 or 4 people and has fought all his life, you're not getting up to that level.
No, some of these people are psychopaths.
Absolutely, mentally.
I love the authority at which you talk about people in prison, knowing you haven't got a single point on your license, and you're like, yeah, it's just that some psychopaths out there.
They are psychos. The psychopaths.
It's the equivalent of going, you've got 3 months, and then you're playing basketball against LeBron James.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to, what would you do in that circumstance? I would train. I would grow 11 inches.
You're not the mind of that.
I would research every way of cheating in basketball.
You'd never get in there.
Standing on toes.
You'd never get in there.
You'd never stand on his toes. I bet no one's ever done that to him before. Good luck jumping
it's
now,
It's got to be in you or it hasn't it, sometimes? And that's
well, it's going to be in you. End of the day, that's what's going to happen.
It goes from like just a hypothetical question from a listener to now it's become like this deep-seated sexual, possibly fantasy.
One of us is going to have to go to jail
to test it.
It's the only way we know who wins.
Flip a coin and then we'll see what happens.
Are you going to do it as a special? That would be
a Patreon special.
For Patreon, if we get to 2,000, I'll go to fucking jail. I'll strap a GoPro to my fucking face.
We'll have Kehoe prosecute him, just so it stays in brand.
So,
have you got any ideas what you're going to do for your Patreon? That's what that could be your Patreon, legal advice.
Yeah,
but he's liable to go to prison.
I'm not got the fucking insurance for that,
could go to
you get the legal advice.
Yeah, that would be better. Every time it would just be just don't get involved would be my advice for everything now. Just don't try not to do anything.
That is a lot of advice. Is just that anyway. To be fair, you know what I mean. Like, when he's doing prison law,
try not to do anything coming from him. He's done fuck all
my life.
They'd phone you up and just like tell you stuff, and it was like, "What should I do?" Well, don't fucking do that. Stop doing the things that you're doing.
Yeah, but that's right. I'm working on a new bit of material now about the fact that, unfortunately, in some of us, you're just a scumbag. And like, I am just a scumbag.
You went to university with Prince Harry. What are you talking about?
But I've never had a job where I haven't had a screw. Like there's not, comedy is the only job I have not in some way broke the law.
You've got
like while I'm doing it.
This is almost should be illegal. You're doing this, and making so little fucking effort on your appearance. I've got people paying £3 a month for this, but I'd turn up in my jizzy top with stomach out. This is criminal. Yeah. I'm surprised you're not doing a secret spin-off one. He might be doing one behind your back.
Oh, but he tried.
He tried. So I've never had a job where I've not had a screw, and I think I'm just a scumbag. I've just had to accept at some point.
I think
you're
you
just
want to be a scumbag.
Yeah.
I think you want
feel
to be
like you're sort of like getting one over on someone.
Yeah, I have to, not on someone, on the system or something. Like,
whoever that is, whatever you, the
like
system,
even on the taxis, like now, like we talk about this. I've got black tape that goes over the tariff, so it makes it's cut perfectly to make tariff 3 look like tariff 1. So when the Grand National's on, I just tariff 3 everyone. So like just
right. What does that mean?
It's the highest tariff.
Yeah.
3 times more than they should be paying. So just
when we used to play football in Everton, he was always the one who'd collect the money, and the fee always remained the same. So say it was 25 quid, 10 of you, £2.50. Week after, 12 of you turn up, £2.50. And he's always the one doing it. And after a few weeks, I was like, what's happening to it? Oh, I'm putting in a pot for a night out
kitty.
and all this. And you're like, he just never paid for like 6 months.
We went on a night out, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, that one time we all went to Bristol.
3 years of playing. He bought a new taxi on the back of it.
You went to where? Where was the night out?
Went to Big Bowl and then I just went drinking. It was good. It was a good night.
Was it a Christmas night out thing or was it just a football
I think
night
it was a football Christmas thing.
Was that the one when Blair, because I left, because there was did Bobby Murdoch give me a lift home?
Yeah. I was fuming because Bobby come and drove. I was like, so then it always happens. I don't hate people going to parties and not drinking. Just don't go because you're always ruining it. Because you'd always ruin it because you're not like he took Alex home.
He said I'll drive you back to Manchester.
It does make people go home early, doesn't it? Because I get to a certain point, if you're not drinking, you think I can't be bothered with these dickheads.
Yeah, and then someone goes, "Oh, there's a free lift."
I'll jump in for a free lift.
Say you haven't get a train, it's a free lift. So
we met at 12. It was about 7:30, and you look round and go, right, we're in Liverpool. Everyone's from Liverpool. Everyone's 20 years younger than you. And people going, like, row at the times like that. You can sleep on my floor. And you're like, it doesn't sound a floor. Not even a sofa, just a floor. And also, there comes a point where, like, you know, when you're drinking and you get your second wind, and you look around and you go, everyone else is absolutely coked off the tits. They're on the 5th wind, and you're like, I'm gone. Right. Free lift home.
It was sensible. Like, we got the train home and then fell asleep on it and ended up in Huddersfield. I paid £200 for the taxi home.
I've done that before. I got on the train at Preston to go to Bolton. Misjudged what the arrivals board or the departures board were, so I got on a train I thought was going to Manchester, but a train that was coming from Manchester. It's like, why would you tell you that information? What a fucking waste of time. Just setting people up to fail, innit? That, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh shit, Manchester Victoria's leaving now, so I went and ran. Got on the thing, sort of fell asleep because I was pissed.
Yeah.
And then, like, woke up and it was like Pulton Le Filed. I was like, what? I was like, took me a while to work out what was going on. Then it was like the last train as well. So it was like, then got to Blackpool. It's
devastating, isn't it?
I was like, I could have to find a hotel the only sort of hotel that except someone pissed walking in Blackpool now is not going to be like a whole. It's going to charge.
That's every hotel in Blackpool. They would all accept.
Yeah.
So I got a taxi and it was like, cost me £100.
They have a hotel just for people who've done that in Blackpool.
Well, like the bloke, like the taxi driver was just like, he just sort of said, "Oh, fall asleep, did you, mate?" I said, "Yeah, everyone does it." It was like literally his weekend work came from driving people back towards fucking Preston.
He's got a thing going on with the train station. It's probably really misleading a bit of information there for these cunts to get.
I've from the Grand National. I've once taken someone to Blackpool. Because they just like they basically been the Blackpool Friday, gone the Grand National on the Saturday.
The brothel.
Got the Grand National on Saturday and I just had enough. Just got out and it was like wasn't the races were still going on. He got out and goes, "Do you take me to Blackpool?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on, get in." Take him to Blackpool sort of thing. And then it turned out he was going to Scotland, and I'm just like there going, "So how are you going to Scotland? How are you getting back? They're going to be trains available or what? Mate? Like, are you going to struggle?" Like, sitting there thinking, just get a place and just go to Scotland and fuck off back and you'll have to go. And then,
So why was he staying in Blackpool?
Yeah, he did on a stag do. So the stag do had obviously gone Blackpool Friday night, then we'll get a coach and go down to the Grand National. Yeah, and he just had enough. Just give in and got in.
Fuck this, I'm going home.
Yeah.
How much did you charge him? Tariff 3.
So it should have been 70, but then obviously there's an entry tax think you end up charging them once.
What's the fuck's an entry tax?
That's it.
Oh, the entry tax, okay.
No, the Grand National.
The Grand National tax,
There's a tax, isn't there, for going to
I thought it meant like something going through entry means
no,
that you have to pay.
no. It's going to get charged a little bit more on top for the fact he's come out the races.
Right, yeah.
And then a bit more on top because, you know.
Because you got to make some money, haven't you?
And then you wonder why Uber does so well.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you'd be like, 18 quid, I can get to Blackpool.
Well, haven't they started upping their thing? Didn't they undercut it and then they're now building it back up? Now they've got the market.
That was the whole point of the whole
system. It's about
it?
the same price, is it? Yeah.
Now
more
it is
expensive
because people are used to it, aren't they?
Because it's surge pricing. It's just loads of times more expensive.
Right.
Yeah, and also if it's like at a peak time, like at Aintree, to get to city centre would normally be 10, 15 quid in a cab, but it's 30 or 40 at peak time in an Uber.
Waiting for taxis is horrible. Especially at that Aintree, you can't get one. You ring them up 50 minutes, an hour. Thinking, oh, for fuck's sake. So
There's a benefit to knowing them all. That's why you drink driving, eh? Listen, officer, it was either that or wait 50 minutes for the taxi.
Would you make 50 minutes in taxi?
Fair enough. Off you go.
I like them villages that do that. Like you said, Otway.
His dreams live in one of them little villages where, like,
No.
Well,
everyone just drinks, drives. It's just fine.
It's just all right.
You know
in the
where
country.
Otway lives? He was saying that. What was it?
Crashed into a wall, and the police just turned up and was like,
Lancaster,
he lives in the Lake District, doesn't he?
Lakes,
Lake District, yeah.
And Kendall just crashed the wall. Police turned up and were like, oh, what he's like.
It's good, that, innit?
We won't have to write it up, will we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't be arsed, and it's just like sleepy little village, innit? Get away with fucking.
Come on, I'll get in. I'll give you a lift.
Yeah. Old school.
Come get your car tomorrow. Go on. Fuck off.
Yeah, it was like that in Ireland where my granddad's from.
Yeah.
It's like it's all country roads, you know what I mean? It's like, and pubs are miles away, so it's like it's just accepted that. Oh, it's something it used to be that everyone would drive to the pub and then just drive home. You know what I mean? Because like taxis were just like one bloke who had a car. He was probably drinking as well himself in the pub and just give everyone a lift home.
It's like you get them village hall gigs in like Lincoln and the car park's full and you're thinking everyone's on the fucking A. Like, you just know that everyone's just like, we don't get police stopping us here. It's just sort of something that happens.
Yeah, well, there's none, is there? Is the thing.
There was a point until about 1992, maybe. So raving started about 1988, 87, 88. And there was a point where it wasn't illegal, where they couldn't test you for drug driving.
Right.
So they could pull you over,
and
if you were driving fine, you could be absolutely off your head. And they couldn't, they could breathalyze you, and you pass the breathalyzer test easily. And then they'd be like, well, you have to get back in the car. So sometimes it wasn't uncommon for in the early days for them to go, you're not really safe. Is there anybody else can drive? And you're like, be in a car and everyone's in a miles worse state than whoever's driving. Yeah. So they'd sometimes like give you a bit of an escort to get you home.
That's great.
That was like at the top end of Oldham, let's say, where it is like fields.
So the police would just be like, we'll just drive with you.
We'll just go slowly to make sure you're safe and like give you an escort.
Why wouldn't they just drive the car?
Well, then very quickly, I mean, if you'd done something dangerous, but there was a point where once you passed,
either, I imagine, like,
no cameras, and also they just they didn't want you out because you are an accident ready to happen. Yeah. So they go, let's just follow us home.
If they didn't do anything, just let you go. They couldn't, and then you fucking knock someone over.
Exactly. And then,
they couldn't really go, well, there was nothing we could do, so they've got to...
And there wasn't anything they could do, and then the law changed. I think it was about 91 or 92 or something.
Ruin everything, don't they?
And now you can't do it at all. I think they do.
Spoil all the fun.
How do they test for drug driving now then?
There's like a litmus, there's a test that they put on your tongue, I think, and they can tell. Or they can do it, but it's illegal now anyway, so it's different. They can do it on... They can just do... There was a point where nobody had drug driven before.
Yeah, so it wasn't illegal.
So it wasn't illegal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't law because it never existed. Then suddenly it existed.
So is drug driving now the same thing as drink driving, or is it what's the...
It's similar, it's the same sort of thing. So it's like...
Is it one law like in America? America's driving under the influence, isn't it?
DUI.
They've always had the big
I think it's under a separate... I mean, I don't do much driving offences, but I think it's under like a separate section, but it's... It's effectively the same thing, yeah. But it's they might have just amended the thing to add it, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same principle basically. Yeah, but it's
so they could tell if you were on coke.
They could totally tell. Well, for a start, they've got a flashing blue light, which is a massive trigger when you're off your head. Because you're just looking at it like, oh my God, what is going on?
You can tell when anyone's on coke.
You can
but
tell.
to prove it.
Of course you can prove it, because he pulls you over and you just go, do you want to talk about me? Was he driving really well? Or the best driving you've ever seen?
That's not proof.
That's what I'd be like anyway.
Chatty man, innit?
That's what I'm like when anyone pulls me over. Oh, you just told me how good I'm driving. Is that what it is?
Nice little silence here.
Yeah, I'm really tired.
You're tired?
I'm pretty tired now.
Oh, you are.
I had my tea.
Oh, have you? What do you have?
I've not had any.
No, he's not.
You've not
I've not had any, no. So I'm
Neither have I. I've had no tea.
I've had no tea either.
That's the rule. We don't eat on Bear Legal.
Eating's cheating.
Have you recorded today?
Have we? No,
we put one out
we
today.
put an episode out today.
Yeah,
Have
I'm
you?
halfway through it, yeah. Harvey Batten.
What?
Dadson it is.
Dadson. Oh.
What happened in that case?
He's a copper in a copse. Like a wooded area.
Wooded glade
Right.
type
Yeah,
thing.
sees someone stealing some wood in 1850. The copper's armed, as he's legally allowed to be in those days, and the copper shoots him. And the law was, if the person stealing the wood had done it 3 times before, you were allowed to use force to stop him, so he could shoot him. But the copper didn't know he'd done it. That was the first time the copper had ever seen him, and he didn't know he'd done it 3 times before. So was it legal or was it not
Had he
legal?
done it 3 times before?
That was his third time.
It was his third time. It was his third offence of stealing wood.
So
the third time you
if
could
he's not
shoot.
been committed, though, he hasn't done it 3 times before, has he?
Technically, well, yeah, that's the thing. So the defence was he's allowed to use
I want to get him off here. Come on.
force to apprehend a fleeing felon.
Yeah.
The word, and you became a felon on your 3rd offence. So technically, when he did it, there would be an argument there about whether or not he was a felon because he hadn't
Third offence of that specific thing.
Stealing the wood.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, so he would have become you know
So did you become a felon on the act or when you're charged?
Well, it would be when
'Cause when you're driving, it's
when
the
you were
act, isn't it?
convicted, wouldn't it? Because if you were
When you're driving, it's the act, when the offence was. So if you get points, they start from when the offence was, not from when you're convicted, don't they?
yeah.
So
That's
so it would be similar.
I mean, that's out of fairness to you, though, isn't it? So that you're not waiting for months for the court system to catch up. But it'd be interesting because, like, technically, he's only a felon when he's convicted. So at the point he gets shot,
how do you know? Did someone report that he was stealing wood?
there've been a spate of thefts. So this copper had been told to guard the wood, basically.
Right.
Like, he must have been like one of the shit coppers. You know what I mean? Like, you watch that wood.
It's a gun.
In a forest.
Gut watch.
And and this guy's seen running away, like stealing it, and he can't catch him apparently. So he shoots him. Well, he's like in the leg to wound him,
Yeah.
to apprehend him, and he had the defense of this thing about a felon, but it's like because he didn't know he was a felon, he couldn't rely on that defense because actually at the time that he shot him, he just shot someone that he didn't know. Yeah. And therefore, he was convicted of of wounding.
And also, hypothetically, once he's been shot, will he go to prison? And will he pretend to be a nonce?
You get no respect as a wood thief.
In 1850, everyone was a nonce, so you wouldn't have to pretend anyway. Like,
So
there weren't any nonces in
just got
prison.
really bored then. And went,
No, I didn't get bored. I was just trying to show off, thinking, right, how am I going to get this fella off here?
I got bored. I was thinking, what about any pedo cases?
I think we lost you on the word felon.
Yeah.
No, cops was the point where
Stealing wood, I went, this one's stealing wood.
Who's asked about wood? Fucking loads for me.
So that's the episode released today, Barely Legal Comedy Podcast. So if you might like it, listen to it.
So So you're going through the... So this is the thing, you're going through the university course, aren't you?
Pretty much.
A bit, yeah. A bit.
After 3 years, you're going to recycle?
No, we absolutely started again because we missed loads and we did loads of different bits of law. So we did criminal.
Yeah.
We did contracts, like anything you buy, what happens if you buy a house and they don't tell you something about it and it turns out the house falls down, can you claim your money back? We did, we did rules of evidence. So what you can talk about in court, what you can't talk about. So if Rob, he's called up in court and went, I heard Wozniak did this.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be allowed.
He's been caught for something and then he wants to rope me into this.
Yeah, and basically you grass him up, but you weren't there. Would that be allowed in court?
Well, it's like all the crimes that you admit to on here.
Yeah.
It's like whether that would be
all
admissible.
comedy, innit?
Yeah. Well, it's like it's not under caution, is it? You know what I mean? It's not like you've admitted it in a police interview or whatever. So
don't you say about Evans? I had that once in a magistrate's where I was sitting outside. So I basically this fella was doing me for being on zigzags at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, outside the school. Like, school's not open. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Waiting for someone outside the chippy. Pulls me over. Fucking knobhead. He does me all. So as soon as he does it, like, right, we're going to court. Because I take everything to court. Because I think, why not?
We're going to court.
That's what I was thinking.
Great, another day out.
That's actually what I was sitting there thinking. I
can't look after him today. I've got court again.
Why not? Because my whole experience of court
I go to court because why not?
Yeah, because my whole experience of court is you get the same sort of punishment you were going to get anyway, and it costs you an extra like 60 quid. You should go and try and get off. So like
something to do.
So anyway, so he does me being on zigzags and that, and then so we're going in, and as we're going in, he obviously doesn't even recognise who I am, and like there's just a group of police officers standing outside the courtroom waiting. He doesn't recognise who I am. Sits next to me, like or one space next to me, and some woman goes to him, "You in for doing a taxi driver again? You fucking hate them, don't you?" And I was like, "What? What?" Like sitting there, what? So we get into court. The first thing I go
you didn't need to go to court for this. You wanted to do it.
First thing I did was go to court and go, "Hey, this has just been said outside," and they was like, "Well, can you prove it? Like otherwise, doesn't matter, does it?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "But the only reason I'm here is because he hates taxi drivers." And he's like,
and because you like going to court as well.
Yeah.
And I was parked on zigzags.
Yeah. How have I ended up here? I've only broke the law. What's
Yeah, but the law shouldn't count at that time. It's like when you go to test.
No wonder this bloke hates taxi drivers. He catches you doing something you admit you've done.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm taking this to court anyway, because why not?
You know, police
so he's going to turn up at court.
Yeah, well.
Have you ever been to court?
No.
No have I?
Yeah, I've been 5
times. Do you mean, haven't I?
Like we had a week I think it was 2 weeks at uni where we were supposed to do a placement.
Right.
And I just didn't ask anyone. And then nobody ever really followed up on it. I thought, they'll find you somewhere. Yeah. Nobody did. So I just had 2 weeks off.
I went and sat in on a case once.
Did you finish your law degree?
Yeah, I got honours as well. I'm lazy. I'm not thick. There's a massive difference.
Well, I'm lazy. I stopped doing. When I realised in uni no one was going to make you do the coursework, I just didn't do it. Like, what? So no one's going to make me do it? Oh, well, what's the point?
I think that's the main test.
Yeah,
that is the main test of all of most things actually in life.
Is to
can you be asked?
Yeah.
And if you can be asked, that's like being a comedian. Like,
can you
be asked? And then if you can be asked after a year or two, they just go, they give them a go. You can rely on them.
There's an element of like time served, isn't it?
There is a bit.
Yeah. Like, it must be round to him doing some of this now.
Yeah, being asked about something like most people, I want to do that, I want to do it. Deep down, probably the main thing stopping me is that you can't be asked.
Yeah, don't care.
You can't be asked.
See, I wonder if this is just a comedian viewpoint and there's loads, everybody else wants to do something and does it because they want to do it.
No, I think my beard does a lot of things because the idea that you don't is naughty or like that sort of like, you have to do it so she just does it. Whereas the idea of being naughty to me is just funny. Like, what's the consequence? Nothing. Whatever.
It's like I can never be bothered.
I'll deal with the consequence when it comes.
Fill in job applications. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've sort of like drifted to where I am now.
I've never wrote a CV.
I've got a CV, but I never want to apply for a job. But there is no way I'm applying for a job that involves filling in an application form. Right. So it's like, because I can't be fucked with it. It's like writing down, trying to remember what I did at school. You know what I mean? Like, and what exams I've got. And then writing down, like, why do you want this job?
Because I need money.
Because I want some money. I don't want to fucking die in a ditch as well.
Stuff costs.
Nobody's giving me everything for free. Yeah. I would, if there was some deal you could do where the energy companies and the mortgage company and they go, right, listen, you're allowed to go out. You can walk the dog and get back in your house. You can go to Lidl once a week, get food, I don't want you talking to anyone. I don't want you bothering anybody. Everything's free. Sign me up. Absolutely.
Why would they be doing that?
No, I'm just saying, that's the thing, though, isn't it? I would definitely do that.
I've got a mate exactly. My mate's dream is for the Matrix to be real, and not to be Neo. Be one of them in the pod. He's like, what? Just get the lie there.
I was thinking about that today.
That's ideal.
I was thinking about that today. Like, why would you want to live in that sort of shitty spaceship, or whatever it is?
Never really seen them,
and know the reality. Or when you can just
lie in a pod.
Experiences that everything's nice and fine, then carry on doing that. I don't understand why you would choose the other one. Maybe that's why I like communism. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but they make you work if you're a communist. Is the problem?
Like, you
try and find your way to the easiest job, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
I did a CV in lockdown. And when you've been
that's
to get so you look at the job.
I did one because I was just bored.
I did one because there was
nothing else to do.
There was a few months where I was like, I'm dead happy doing nothing, and then coinciding with my wife having to go back to work very quickly, I had to try and get a job.
Yeah.
Well, I can only
I'm doing something, you're doing something.
Yeah, it was exactly that. But I've been a full-time comedian for 25 years. So any job that you apply for, there's no way you can... I mean, I'm doing transferable skills. Oh, I'm good with people.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, have you got any examples? Oh, I've got clips of me at hot water calling some woman a cunt.
Well, I once got a bit of backlash from Manchester Evening News when I called some woman a slag at King Kong.
Have you ever dealt with adversity?
Yeah.
Well, I rolled it out once with someone called... I did.
Remember that?
Yo, do I remember it?
Yeah, that was big. That one. Do you remember it?
Of course I remember.
King Kong.
I remember it well.
Did you put the footage out, or did you decide against it? Did you advise
Rob's
him?
the only... No, he was on holiday.
I think I saw it.
Rob's
no, you couldn't.
No, you can't. And he's the only other one that saw it. And I deleted it straight away.
Showed it to me.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, it's only you two then. And you were in a professional capacity because... just to see what have I done here? And he's like, you've not done anything. You've not done absolutely
just
anything.
noise, wasn't it?
Can we do anything? Like, is there anything we could get done for on stage?
Inciting a riot.
Yeah, but I feel like I do that.
You don't.
Because sometimes I say we should just burn it, just burn everything down. Like, what's going to
Yeah, but that's
but you're on a stage, aren't you?
So that's what I'm saying.
In a comedy club.
Is there anything we can?
Not really.
You could probably be done for incitement for racial hatred.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
that's about the only one.
There was that guy.
Could Jimmy Carr get something inciting racial hatred now? Then
no, because he didn't incite hatred, did he? He didn't encourage violence or anything.
The Nazi guy, the Scottish guy with the Nazi. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but that was a video, though, wasn't it? It wasn't on stage.
Well, that was on YouTube, because that's about electronic communications.
Right.
Which is that.
So we could
be doing this part.
This is more dangerous for you getting in trouble than being on stages.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. Because being on stage is also, it's not being put online, is it? It's in the room.
Yeah, it's performance as well, isn't it?
This can travel.
Yeah.
Whereas on stage, it's staying there supposedly,
right.
unless someone snides you.
In a comedy club, I mean that setting alone suggests that nothing that you're saying should be taken.
Hannibal Buress with
But what about when it's filmed and put out then?
Hey?
When it's filmed and put out though? So like Jimmy Carr's on Netflix, so is the different... Is that not...
Well,
is that electronic communications?
I don't think that's electronic... It's a good question, actually.
Well, why is YouTube not broadcast?
I don't know.
What's interesting... So
at Barely Legal Comedy Pod.
Now, this is where we'd edit and he'd get one of a million bucks out and
I'd have a look
out.
and go and find out, and then we'd come back in and go, oh, he knows his stuff off the top of his head.
Don't do that on here, mate. In
that circumstance,
no games, no gimmicks.
He can't answer it because if he gets something wrong, he'll get absolutely called out, for one.
Yeah.
And two, potentially if it's really serious, like your insurance is at risk and stuff. Yeah. Whereas I'm not. So in that case...
Yeah,
you have to...
If I misadvise someone...
They can go, lose 10 years of their life.
Millions and millions of pounds of damages, potentially.
Wow.
You must be so tempted to do that every now and then.
It's professional, sort of like a public liability insurance thing it is, yeah.
You know what we all should have when we do gigs?
Yeah,
that one.
We've all got
that as well. because I'm a member of Equity.
Oh yeah.
If you got the two mixed up.
No, it's like it was cheaper to join Equity than it was to get a standalone insurance policy.
Right.
Yeah, but
And you're like covered for like it was. I did
Somebody
a gig
bounces a bottle of Beck's off your head.
I did a gig that I had to sort of
Covered
like,
for that.
show.
Joke's on you.
yeah. Like we're in a theatre gig where they're like, "Oh, you need PLI."
It was one of those. I had to prove
and I just say, anytime I've had that, I just say, "Yeah, I've got it."
Do you know who advised me to join Equity on that front was Greg Cook. If you can believe that. Yeah.
Right.
The thing at a gig, really, that I think when you're a comedian, you sort of forget, like, is how it doesn't really matter that much to anybody in the audience. So they go in, they want to have a good time.
Yeah.
They have a good time.
Yeah.
Or they have a bad time. If they have a bad time, that's when the problems start. And they, all the, you kicked us out for talking. It's like, oh, you ruined the show and you spilled a drink and she fell over, she's drunk, and he punched a bouncer. That's why you got kicked out. But ultimately, people leave a gig and go, oh, that was really good. 10 minutes after that, they don't care. It's like a film.
Yeah,
when you got the cinema and you walk out the cinema and it's like different light and you're like, oh, that was brilliant.
What am I going to get for Mackey's?
Yeah, try and tell something. Yeah, it's gone. And then the day after, what was Sing 2 like? And you're like, oh, I can't remember. Yeah. Kids enjoyed it. Can't remember. Just can't remember.
Popcorn was 30 quid on the Rock and Roll.
Yeah. And that was a great thing. And now it's not as good because people are filming it and putting it out.
Yeah.
So it kind of exists there, but it almost exists in a way it shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't exist.
No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying about the Netflix things. Like, in reality, that shouldn't really. What that is a performance in a room.
But it's different because he knows he's being filmed. And he's professionally filmed and he's putting it out.
But then I suppose I wonder if that makes hot water a bit more difficult because you know you're getting filmed. You say you played a club where you know you're getting filmed.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to do it though, do you? Is the thing. So you agree.
You agree. Yeah, you
agree to get it filmed by.
No, it's when someone has a phone and does it, and that like what I said before, like and Cosby. Yeah. The fact that someone filmed Hannibal Buress saying about the Cosby allegations, and then that stopped part of it all off. Yeah, like, it must have been known, mustn't it, in the industry over there that it was all going on. Yeah. Same with like CK. That was like a known secret one that everyone sort of. Semi knew about.
I thought you were going to say something we all know then, and then that hasn't come out of shit myself. Like, that's getting edited out, fucking hell.
It's probably different if you like, if somebody comes to stage and you punch them. That's different then. But are you just saying something?
Yeah.
It's like,
say, yeah, as a comedian, if you like assault members of the audience, then that'll be assault.
And that's,
but then
that's assault, and that's recorded.
Anything you want as part of a performance, you know what I
mean? In my set, I threaten to twat the whole audience.
That's fine, yeah.
I say I'll fight the fucking lawyers. Now, what if someone got on stage after I said that? Could they then go back to me going, well, actually, you did say
they know you're joking because they've seen you walk the 10 yards and struggle to get to the microphone.
You see me start by going,
fight the lawyer.
But to be fair, now I'm getting fatter. I've actually started caveating and going, I'll fight the fucking lawyers. All right. Right. Well, you might win, but cardio only. Only because of cardio.
I was going to say something then I've completely forgot. That's what happens with me in this. It's just me.
I told you, we're raw.
Love it.
Have a word. All the production value in the world. We're just fucking...
Because you don't pay anyone to edit.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did, because I was editing ours the first month. And then I went, if I just don't edit it and leave all the mistakes in, we can pretend it's like
it's meant to be
deliberate. You know, it's part of the style and the charm of it.
Yeah. So and then he's going, do you remember when we used to have people like fans who used to send things in and thank us for it, and that all stopped? I wonder why that might have been. Do you know when I started fucking doing it, literally phoning it in, like me sitting in my car watching seagulls fighting in Blackpool.
And there was the point. If we're going to go down that route, the point was when we stopped following like a logical course. Yeah. And you went, I'll do what I fancy this week. That's how we started losing it.
Yeah. With the other podcast in the Lombardi one, that's what started to happen to that. Well, I just started, I started doing it in his work van on his, on a little break. I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm here, got professional.
No respect for this podcast.
You're just there. And
I'm not arsed. I can't be arsed.
Then you've got headphones and you're just pointing at your phone, looking at your phone, you rat. Yeah. It's just like that was like, that's the end of this one then.
So what with that noise, nothing really came of it, did it?
What noise?
Did you lose any gigs or anything from it? Or?
Well, it's really weird because I was advised at the time not to talk about it.
Do you want to talk about it?
I don't. I have to. Do you know what? I don't want it to come up again. But because so we'll talk, what we said so far is no big deal. Yeah. The problem was I enjoyed it for the first few hours. I really enjoyed it, and I was like batting things back, and it was just funny.
Yeah.
And then my wife got home from work, and by then I'd had 5 or 6 phone calls from Manchester Evening News, being the smallest, Channel 5 researcher for, I think, The Right Stuff, somebody from ITV, somebody from BBC local news, paper, one magazine, few emails, 3 or 4 death threats. That was the other bit that I never put out. So there was actual death threats from people who were a credible death threat, i.e. relatives of the people. Also, it didn't, there was loads of people who went, this didn't happen. Part of the problem, I think,
doesn't matter though, does it?
Well, I was a middle-aged man with glasses.
Yeah.
And the two...
You can't ignore that detail going in the glasses. Are massive.
And the 2 girls were like both really young, really attractive, as in like 20, 21 or whatever. Yeah. And whatever they said is instantly... just retweeted by hundreds of like 16-year-old lads.
Yeah, there's loads of lads like, fully supportive and all. Yeah,
but none of it made any sense of the like when you fully there, you go, I wouldn't say that. I might have said that, and I definitely didn't say that. Yeah. And then when I watched it back, because they weren't from the local area, some of the things that they said, it was like, you just didn't hear my accent. You didn't understand my accent. Now that's one thing if I'm in Liverpool, but it was in Manchester.
The worst part of the whole thing was there was a female open mic comic. He then was like supporting. She was such a tit because she made the whole thing worse because she was going, it was wrong and also like that. And you're like, what?
Because she was there and she wasn't.
She was there and she was appalled, but.
Yeah, she wants to make herself part of it.
There was loads of details omitted, like the fact they hadn't paid and they'd snuck in a different way, and
and the fact that they come in halfway through the show.
They missed the first 5 minutes.
And you'd already what you were talking about. You'd already mentioned to somebody else.
Yeah, and I was
in context and had a laugh. Something. Yeah.
So I was dealing with somebody else. It was like a boiling hot day, and this fella had come in like a Mac. Now I didn't know he was an act. He just actually looked like a paedophile. So I was going, mate, it's 30-degree heat. You've got a Mac on, and you're carrying like a Lidl plastic bag, and he's just walking around lost. So I'm dealing with him, and then these 2 like girls, beautiful 20-year-old girls, excuse me, walked up to him as I'm like going, "You're a paedophile. You must be gutted. It's the middle of the summer holidays. What are you going to do for the next 4 weeks? You must be like, I don't know, watching.
Just come and do King Gong.
Must be watching CBeebies to have a wank. It's terrible." And obviously they're all in bed now. It's 8:30, so here you are, you're out and stuff. Just probably trying to get babysitting work. These 2 toddle up, and I'm like, what's going on here? Said something to him, and they were like, you said that to us, and I was like, I just called him a million times. The other thing was all night, I am horrible on stage. Yeah. I just call everybody. I called somebody. Paedophile probably. Caught somebody like some dude like this young lad, and I was like, you look like you're on suicide watch, and kept checking in with him. He wasn't going to kill himself. Some was like, just loads of stuff happens, and
just
everybody
being funny.
Everybody deals with it, and they took offence. Fair enough, which they rightly too. But in the old days, they'd have took offence and then met me in the break and been like, As it was, I woke up after going, that was an amazing gig.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hang on. And my phone's quite lit up.
Oh, dear.
But loads of people, a few famous people joined in, and then they were trying to tweet.
Attack you.
I remember that. That was quite nice in a way, wasn't it? Because they had like, well, I'm sure such a
Ricky Gervais.
You could see them going through the list of famous comedians, and they were tagging them in. And anyone that did reply, so I said, I know Alex, he's really nice, so I don't believe any of this.
They're like Frankie Boyle and stuff, but I've known them all 20 years because they're like started at the same time when they got successful. I didn't.
Then it's just once it's been lit in it, once somebody's thrown the shit.
Kevin Bridges ended it, so on like day 2 or 3, and it was.
I know these girls; they are slack.
It was the thing. The sad thing was, it was such an amount of nothing. It was absolutely nothing.
The thing is,
Bridges just texted and went, "Look, loads of people commenting. If you weren't there, I know him. I'm guessing he was joking. Just what is wrong with you all and that kind of stuff. Don't contact me again to like these people.
Yeah.
And then they just like, they were slapped down by a couple of people like that.
They weren't getting the fuel they wanted off people in the industry.
I liked it when they got Ricky Gervais involved.
They got Ricky Gervais involved.
Famous for wanting to sort of censor what comedians say on stage. Yeah.
But it was, the ultimate thing was, it was nothing compared to what I've said a million times before that.
The thing is, though, as well, I reckon if that happened now, it wouldn't be anything because it's not.
Again,
it's not strong enough.
You
now.
go back to 3-4 years ago, and it was just this movement starting.
Yeah. Whereas now it's like, it's got to have to be worse than that. Like
people, well, there were loads of things as well. So the footage that I had was 18 minutes long.
Yeah.
So I couldn't edit. I'd have had to clip it.
Yeah, and to get the context.
There's no context, so I'd have had to like clip about 5 things to go. Look, this is all the joke.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching even a minute of stuff. It has to be like, but. Not just that, it looked crap because it wasn't recorded for any. It's a security camera, so it's only if there's an incident like people have got on stage and
it
punched.
looks like you've been caught on CCTV, which isn't a good look, is it? When you're trying to
the audience aren't mics as well, so it's just you just saying things and then waiting for no reason. Like, well, the last time they can't even hear that. So you're like,
I think there was only 10 people in that gig,
and the sad thing was, it was like an amazing gig, and on the back of it, they were like. Oh, you'll have to do it because I had a couple of my own nights and not really done that one.
The store backed you still, didn't they? They never.
Yeah, they backed. They backed me and went. Well, we were there, and also it was weird because the staff going, no, this happened, and the Simon went, no, what you're saying is not true, and people just ignored that. And then people going, why don't you give us evidence? And I'm like, well, look, these people were all in the room and say this. None of this happened.
Kind of like what we were saying about bullying and that. It's like. The ones that are going to attack, the ones like we're not asked about, we're not going to judge you for. We're going like, yeah, it's fine, but then we go, I can't be asked getting involved myself. So you just sort of, do you know what I mean? You kind of like,
exactly.
If you've got clout, you can do it.
Well, to be honest, after Gary Delaney said, he just texted me and he said to me, if ever you're involved in something like this, just ignore it and it'll go away after 48 hours is probably the maximum. On 44, 46 hours, my phone finally stopped pinging and all that. And I'm like, all right, mate, he's right. The day after I woke up, and some comedians like this had done a massive podcast and tagged everybody involved in. And it doubled in size overnight. And I was like, oh, wow. But I genuinely don't think it happened now because of where we're at with that whole woke
I don't think it's
thing.
big enough now. I think like
people just go, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense.
It's gone too far. One thing I wanted to ask right before we go, you were talking about, the Oxford-Cambridge thing with the writers. Is there a similar thing like that in like barristers and law sort of thing?
What is some sort of privilege built into the legal profession?
Yeah. Well,
fucking hell, what do you think?
Well, obviously there is, but I mean, like, how does that come across sort of things and like?
How does it come? How does it play out?
Well, with us, obviously, there's a privilege thing of like, with the Oxford-Cambridge, the whole school tie sort of thing, get better jobs and stuff. With Alex being in the room going, well, I've got nothing to say to these people. Like, when are you ever in them situations or not?
Yeah, quite regularly, to be fair. Well, 90% of judges went to Eton or Harrow.
Right.
Jesus.
So it's that sort of it's that sort of level of privilege. So it's something ridiculous like that. Yeah. It might not be Eton or Harrow. It might be. There's probably more schools than that, but it's like they went to the traditional public schools, so that they probably feed into that sort of system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That feeds things.
That's high.
You do get quite a few barristers who are from working class backgrounds, but they're the exceptions.
Yeah.
Not many of us speak with our actual accents anymore, but I make a point. You sort of enunciate more clearly in court, but. I've not changed my accent, which a lot of them have. It's definitely like there's a definite sort of like Oxbridge vibe in the Rolby room sometimes. Like most of them are all right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is a different world. If you look at the interests, if you go on a Barristers Chambers website and look at the interests of like the barristers, and it's like things like travel, sailing, and wine. Wine. You can't drinking. You can't put drinking down.
Whores and cocaine. That's one of the big ones. Isn't it?
Do you know what's a really good test to see where you're from?
Right.
Is think of your mates. Think of a problem that you had. You can pay for it, but think of a problem or something you want. Could you get somebody? Do you know? So, boiler's gone. Do you know someone who does plumbing? Do you know someone who does central heating plumbing?
Yeah.
Do you know a carpet fitter? Do you know a builder or a joiner? And you went to school with all of those people.
That's the thing I've said to my wife when we moved in. I'll do fuck all, but I know every.
You know everybody, right?
Yeah.
So you know them, or if you don't know them, your mate knows them, right? Imagine if you wanted, instead of, so if you're posh and you go, I need a plumber. My tap in the kitchen is dripping.
Yeah.
I have to get a plumber. They probably cost about £3,000 or £4,000 to come round to get like that. Yes, they do. But on the other side of that, if they want a BBC Radio 4 show, they know somebody who they went to uni with who's now a producer there, or and it's
they want to move several tens of thousands of pounds offshore or something like that. You know how to do stuff like that.
So you're saying to find out where you're sort of from and what class you're in is what jobs do you know people?
Well, it's one way, but so imagine if you're in the bar.
What kind of situation can you make a phone call in?
Imagine you're 23.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine I went to Oxford or Cambridge and I'm like a really successful barrister anyway. You've sorted it all out. You've got your own chambers. You've got people. You'll get your daughter or your son in.
I can get you into this account.
Do you know what I mean?
I can get you
Whereas what can we actually get any of them? Like my lads, I've got an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old. What can I get them other than you get a new flat? Oh, I can get your carpet fit around tomorrow. And I know a decorator. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't get you a cheaper rate because I know the landowner guy.
Hey, or you own the land and you just give them their own. Do you know what I mean? It's that's like a hidden. So the whole point when we were doing the podcast was I feel like I wasted my time.
Yeah.
And I regret it a bit. I've had a great time doing comedy, but I also regret it. So
what, doing stand up?
No, not pursue, because I was given a really good chance. They let me do it. It was a different time.
Yeah.
So if I'd have had to pay for it, I wouldn't have paid for it. But I still had a chance to have done better. Yeah. And I kind of was lazy and I was too young to be interested. Also, the Happy Mondays had just finished. Stone Roses was still about. Yeah. Raving was a thing. Do you know what I mean? Who cared? Who cared about anything other than that? But it's like now young people, if you're clever and you and your parents only know builders and plumbers or whatever, and it's like a way in. There was a way in for me. It's not a difficult subject if you work at it. Yeah. It's not beyond anybody that's half clever to go.
Law.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's lots of remembering. Yeah. And it's lots of theory.
Lots of research and stuff, isn't it, basically?
That's it. The reading is just phenomenal.
Think you can't do it because you won't have the same advantages. Your dad won't be able to get you a pupillage. You want to be a barrister, but you're going to pay the same amount as everyone else for it, and you can do it. You can try it. So we were like, because he's a good example, because he's just a normal person who's got an amazing job. So just because you're like...
So do you wish you'd have been a lawyer now?
I did during lockdown. I wish I'd have done something. I wish I'd have done something worthwhile, because everybody else was working and doing, like, it was a time of national crisis. Yeah. And all the people that had good jobs that helped everybody else did that. Right. And I literally did cock all.
You were like, there was no one to call a slag or anything.
There was no one to
call a slag. So I was getting called a nonce every 5 minutes.
My wife's just sitting there getting you slag.
Couldn't even drive to Roxford.
Just go, look at these two paedophiles coming in at 5 a.m.
So I kind of wish I did it. And also, ultimately, the amount of work to even do one case, like he'll do 4 hours reading the night before and do all this prep, and then in the morning they'll go, oh, actually the court's leaking, you can't come in, that's off. That'd be enough to, I'd go on a rampage and I'd do 4 hours work. I just walk around.
Whereas I'm like, what, is it got to be adjourned?
Yeah. What's the fucking point? Send him down, I'm not out.
I hope he goes down the rat. Right.
Lionel Hutz.
Right, so barely legal, what's your socials?
Have you sorted them yet?
It's at Barely Legal Pod.
It might be pod.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's the blue background that Chris designed himself because he's an artist.
It took me ages to design it. If you look at it, it's blue background with some writing on.
Yeah.
Twitter and Instagram at Barely Legal Pod.
Instagram's Barely Legal Comedy Pod or Barely Legal Podcast or Barely Legal Pod.
And
we got told you got to have them.
We don't do Insta very well because I don't do it very well because I can't put links in.
I'm gonna have a look now.
So we just do Twitter,
right?
And it's Barely Legal.
Well,
Pod.
when you start putting clips out, though, Instagram will go forward.
Yeah, we need to buy all the stuff.
You haven't got a camera yet, have you?
No. And one of us just has had like 18 months of lockdown and earned less than they've ever earned in 25 years. The other one's got 3 jobs. So maybe one of us should buy it.
I can't hear what you're saying. I can't get it up. There's no signal in here.
It's Barely Legal.
Barely Legal Podcast.
Barely Legal Comedy Podcast. If you want to Google it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Barely Legal.
If you want to Google it.
I've listened from
We can link it on this, can't we? You can put
I'll put it in the YouTube comment.
There you go.
I'll put it in. That's some work for me now. Yeah. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, right.
Right.
One word.
Your own socials, you want to push them as well? Or?
We'll get it wrong by accident.
Well, Alex Boardman, but without the E. So it's ALX Boardman. I also am Alex Boardman, but I forgot the password like 10 years ago. Never was able to recover it. So,
and I'm Mr. Kehoe 79.
Mr. Kehoe 79.
There's
Lovely.
an underscore in there. I know yours better than mine, isn't there?
There's not an underscore, no. There was in my email address.
It's that. Give him that. Give him that if you want.
I get enough from people. Yeah. I don't.
It's like
just from comedians.
You know that first email you get, like AOL.
You are. But I remember when I called you, like, right, yes.
I don't mind doing it. You know, but it's like some people that I barely know. I'll just sort of be like,
really, you have a lot of comics contacting you to try and pick your head for.
Yeah. The best one, I won't say the name of the person, but I gave them some advice. Someone I've met like twice maybe in my life. Gave them some advice about this issue that they had. And they didn't like the advice and started arguing with me. I was like, well, fucking do your own stuff then if you want to.
Yeah.
That sounds like my
sorry if this advice isn't going to result in you having £10,000 of cash that you were going to get.
That's every comedian you ever meet is exactly that person.
Fuck off, Chris.
Did you like that bit? No.
Could you help me for nothing? Good, though. Yes, here you go. Oh, no, that's not right.
Right. Thank you very much. Go check out Barely Legal Podcast.
Ta-da.